What's up, guys? It's Ruka here, and we are here for our late end of the year wrap up video. We are 1 week into the new year, so akemashite omedetou gozaimasu.
Akeome.
New Year.
Akeome. We have a kagami mochi up here that I put up here for our new setup.
Cool.
I thought it'd be fitting.
Very smart. I should have brought like party stuff and like one of those horns. Should have
Honestly.
brought it because it's essentially special. You want to have fun time. I should have done that. Damn.
So yes, as you can see, we are all here. Steve and Michael are here with me. We might have Jermy come on later, maybe not. It depends on when he gets up. And Colin is here as our guest.
Hello.
We were
Hi,
planning
everyone.
on having maybe a couple more people join, but some stuff came up, plans changed, so right now it's just gonna be the four of us, maybe five later, talking, doing this wrap-up video. So yeah, as you can see, we have a little slideshow set up, kind of. As I said, we are taking a page from our friends over at Oshidare Podcast, and we decided to make a little slideshow for our discussions for the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So you can listen to us and watch.
So yeah, what do you say we go ahead and get started?
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So first off, 2022 big year for us on the channel because this was our 5-year anniversary since we started the channel. If you guys remember, we had like a big celebration live stream. Colin, you were also there. We talked a bit. We played some fun games we were actually talking about before we started recording. But yeah, that was fun. Technical difficulties and all. It was still fun.
That I don't remember. I remember having a good time, and like I said, one stupid mistake that I made that I totally did not forget. It happens,
Yeah,
it's like
it happens.
You only remember having a good time and a silly mistake. You're like, oh my god, why did I do that? I should have known better.
Right.
It's in the heat of the moment, whatever.
It still blows my mind in my head that I just completely overlooked Steve being the mafia in the Martians game. But it happens. To be fair, I was rushing the ending too anyways, so yeah. I'll do better next time, when I'm not on a time crunch to try and end a live stream. That being said, though, now we can move on to our discussion, and we've got a couple things to go into for this. So first off, again, sort of taking a page from our friends over at Oshidare Podcast, we're gonna do some quick birthday shout-outs for the past month of December and then this month of January. So belated, upcoming, who's currently having a birthday right now, we're going to discuss that. So anyone in particular on the December list do you guys want to give a quick shout-out to in terms of who had a birthday this past month?
I actually have somebody that isn't on the list that I kind of forgot to add.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I know the end from December. Her birthday was on December 27th.
Oh, okay. Cool.
3 people on that day. Okay.
Actually, yeah, there are quite a few people on that day. The 27th?
Lucky day. And the 11th, also already 2 people. That's a coincidental. 3 people on the same day. Damn.
Although, to be fair, one of them isn't a birthday. One of them is essentially
debut, isn't it?
voice actor, singer, YouTuber Amanda Lee. Last year she had debuted her VTuber avatar, Monarch, and she's been doing live streams with that. And she released an album surrounded around the character of Monarch and her lore, which is really good. Rise of the Monarch. It is so good. Also, I know that you put this on here, Colin, but AKB48 last year was their 17th anniversary.
Wow.
that is a big deal. 17 years for a group. It was the first thing that came into my mind. It's like,
Mhm.
well, AKB as a group, it's something I follow the most. I know you guys have too, and it's like, well, it's important. They always celebrate in the theater, and I was like, well, gotta add that too. That was one that I could add
Of
as well.
course, of course. That's fair. That's completely fair. So yeah, if that's it for this slide, we can move on to the January birthdays next.
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
So next up, currently today, January 7th, we have a couple birthdays on there. Yuhyun
Double.
from Dreamcatcher, it's her birthday
Hey.
today, actually.
Birthday.
Woo!
I have an imaginary rattle in my hand.
Yeah. So, future birthdays coming up later this month. Speaking of Dreamcatcher, actually, the 13th, it's going to be their anniversary as well. Their 6th anniversary since they debuted.
That's
So,
also long. Wow.
yeah, that's exciting. I'm really excited for that. I'm so excited for what their next release is going to be this year because last year, of course, we're going to go in detail to it more, but last year they had some really good releases with their Apocalypse Save Us album, and then the Follow Us mini album after that was so good. So really excited to see how they're going to wrap up the Apocalypse trilogy, as it's being called.
Ooh. Yeah, something to look forward to. Hope they announce something. Seems like the best day to announce anything, if you have an anniversary, particular for a music group.
All right, so anyone else you guys want to give a quick birthday shout out to that's here on the list or not on the list?
Oh, her birthday already passed like 5 days ago, but Moria Rana.
Yeah.
The single center.
Yeah, that's exciting. That is very exciting.
We'll get to that later, but I'm hyped for February now, so.
February is the best month in the year. My birthday. A little thrown in there. It's the best month. It's the best month. It's a scientific fact. Google it.
I mean, I don't blame you. There have been some idol groups that have had some pretty good releases in February, so
See, lucky month.
All right, then I guess moving on we can go into a year in review now. So, first off, my year in review. So, 2022 was an interesting year, especially on the side of K-pop. It seemed to be kind of a back and forth between some groups it was a good year, some groups they were having a bit of struggle. Like, the big thing is, I think it's especially because after the pandemic hit in 2020, there was kind of a shift in, the K-pop industry about, a lot of these newer groups that they're coming out, they kind of, it's kind of a struggle for them to, make immediate success compared to, how stuff used to be, last year. So, we've had a couple of groups, especially newer groups, who have had they've had significant changes, like members leaving or sometimes just outright disbanding if they didn't meet that initial success that they had in the first year or so after debuting. Like, a recent example I can think of is Bugaboo, which I think they debuted I want to say either, for some reason I want to say 2021. I'm not sure. Someone can fact check me on that, but they were maybe a year or two old, but then they disbanded. It was announced that they had disbanded towards the end of this past year, so it's kind of crazy to think.
Because time flies. It's like 2 years, and it's like, oh, it's what Derek Vasconi always says, a good friend of mine. Here today, gone tomorrow. And it's so true. It's so true.
And I know, Colin, you'll remember about this, but I talked about Pixie a lot last year in last year's wrap-up video of being they were kind of my 2021 pick for rookie group of the year. Just I was loving them. I saw a lot of potential in them. 2022 was kind of a rough year for them, particularly because their leader at the time, Ella, was on a hiatus. And then after Villain came out and they had a performance, had kind of like a couple performances in the US, it was announced that both Ella and another member, Sapyeol, were leaving the group. So those two gone made me kind of sad, especially Ella, because I loved her voice and her personality. But things are starting to look up for them, I'm hoping, because now they have a new member in the group, Rinji. They had a small tour in Europe, and there's talk about them releasing some new music soon, so it's going to be exciting to see what direction they're going to go in, especially now that they have this new member, Rinji. I'm really hopeful for them in the future.
Something to look forward to, hopeful. It's always sucks, these things are turbulent, one day everything is fine and then something happens and then they're gone. It really sucks. It's like what's the word for it? You're not dependent on them making it, to next week, or it's not expected to. You never know, and that sucks. Particularly if you're really into it, and then it's over, or it's paused or whatever. It sucks. It's the game.
Yeah.
If I can say it like that.
No, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, moving on. So something else that we also did on the channel this past year was we started doing a couple of gaming streams. It was me checking out this new game that I was really excited to play called the Caligula Effect 2, the sequel to the original Caligula Effect game. I really love that series. And so I kind of stopped doing it after a while, and the reason is really because, well, it was hard for me to keep up with doing streams, especially just because some personal stuff that was going on in my life, which won't get into here, but if you know, you know. But I did want to at least talk about this game because I did finish it on my own, and this game is so good. Like, I would honestly highly recommend it for anyone who, obviously, Idol fans like us, but is also interested in just Idol culture, or even if you just like good music, because the music in this game is phenomenal. And one thing I do love about this game is, like, a lot of the characters in here have, like, it's interesting what we were talking about earlier, actually, before the stream. We were talking about, like, having sympathetic characters, sympathetic villains, and stuff like that. Talking about that. So there are characters like this both in this game and the original game as well, because I've played the remake of the original, actually, Overdose, which had some new characters that weren't in the original release of the game, and it was cool to see because you do have that sort of mix of characters who have, like, some of them have very complex or sympathetic motivations for why they're doing what they're doing, and then some of them are very simple motivations. So it's a good mix of that. And some of these characters, they do kind of delve into idol culture, because some of the characters, some of the allies that you team up with are former idols, and they have some, like, personal trauma that they endured being part of the idol industry. So it's really interesting to see that development. And of course, the characters that you're seeing in this image here, Regret and Key, the two of them that are singing, they're AI programs, they're voice synthesizer programs. So it kind of delves into that prospect as well, of, like, virtual idols, essentially, and kind of the parasocial relationship that fans can have with their idols and the impact that it can have on some of them. It's so interesting. Again, I would highly recommend this game series for anyone who is interested in it. And again, just for the music alone, I'd say, because the music is so good.
Really cool. Sounds really immersive.
Didn't the first game get an anime adaptation?
It did get an anime adaptation. That's actually how I initially got into it. When the anime came out, I was interested in it and decided to check out the game, and then the remaster version of it, Overdose, came out for the Switch, so I played it on the Switch, and then I got the second game when it came out late 2021, and I didn't start playing it until the start of last year, so yeah.
Cool. Really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
All right. So next up, a bit of news again on kind of the anime game side. So Maishima Ami, so she is a former idol actually, was a part of the group Supergirls and has also been part of several anime game projects, especially music games like Bang Dream. She was the character of Aya, who is part of the idol girls band Pastel Palettes, and then also Ibuki, who is a member of the unit Photon Maiden for D4DJ. Recently, she has been having some health problems, so it was announced that she's going on hiatus and she is going to be stepping down from these projects. So she is no longer going to be playing the roles of Aya and Ibuki for both of these series, respectively, which is a bit of bittersweet news. You know, obviously her health comes first, and I wish the best for her. That hopefully she'll be able to come back and do more voice acting work in the future because she is really good. I really like her as Aya, especially. Like you can really feel like she is so connected with this character of Aya, who is an idol herself, and it's really cool to see, especially because she's been playing the character for like 6 years. You know, she played it since the start
Long.
of the mobile game, which
Mhm.
is where her character was introduced. So yeah, like it's
Really
definitely
cool.
bittersweet to see her go, and like whoever they're gonna get in to like fill in for her when that time eventually does come to fill in for Aya especially is gonna have some big shoes to fill in because she has like, you know, again, 6 years, that's a long time. The game developers even announced they're not gonna like re-record all of her original voice lines. They're going to keep all of her voice lines that Amita originally did for Aya to preserve that legacy of the past
Cool.
6 years that she's been doing the character, which is good, which is good.
Wow. Kind of surprising, to be honest. That's
Hmm.
something I wouldn't expect.
Yeah, especially because like she's the main vocalist of the band too. She is the voice you hear for the majority of their music and stuff. Like she's doing most of the singing work. Obviously the other girls, you know, who are part of the band, you hear them doing some vocals as well, but it's like Aya is like the center of the group, the face of the group for
Ooh.
Pastel Palettes. So like I said, whoever they're going to get in to fill in for the role has like big shoes to fill in for
Yeah,
this
very.
role.
Damn, I hope that will go well.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I also have something else to say about her.
Mhm.
So, unlike you, I know her from a completely different kind of medium. So, I actually found Maishima Ami because she does ASMR on YouTube. She has an
Okay.
ASMR channel on YouTube.
Oh,
Small
okay.
world out there.
She's
That's
been doing
cool.
that for a couple years at least.
Hard worker.
So, that's how I know her.
I mean, I could see that being popular. She has like a really cute, really sweet sounding voice, so I can imagine.
Mm, I think she has done some role play videos in the
Oh, okay,
past,
okay.
if I remember correctly.
Hmm. So yeah, obviously, Amita, wishing you the best, hoping you will have a speedy recovery and be able to get back into the entertainment world, go back into voice acting and stuff like that, and just thank you so much for bringing this character of Aya to life. Is like she's such a lovable character. So, yeah, next up moving on.
The
So,
best. Yeah.
from one idol world to another, Eyes One. So,
Yeah.
it's been a couple years now, you know, since Eyes One has disbanded and all of the girls have
Oh yeah.
basically gone on to do their own things. So, I've been like
Mhm.
doing my best to keep up with most of them, some more than others, I will admit. But yeah, just to give you a bit of a perspective on like where the girls are right now, we do have quite a few solo debuts. Quantum B, former
Mhm.
leader, Teana, she has had some really good solo releases in my opinion. I love her stuff, and she has a new
Ooh.
single coming out called Love War. So
Ooh.
really excited for that.
Okay.
Lee Taeyeon, who was my original bias for the group, she had her solo debut last year in October, had this like cute like sort of modern era vampire type concept, which was really cute actually. I really thought that MV was just super cute. We have a couple members kind of pictured up here. Sakura and Taewon are in Le Seraphim now. Yujin and Moonyoung are in IVE now. I'm really excited for what IVE is going to do because so far they've only released singles. So whenever their first mini album is going to be, I'm really excited to see what they do for that.
Cool.
And then also recently on the J-pop side, actually, Yabuki Nako, she recently announced she's graduating from HKT. Their next single, actually, that they announced was coming out. I forget exactly when, but their next single, it's going to be her last single, and then she's going to be pursuing an acting career, which is going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
So good luck to her. And I've said it a million times before, but it just makes me so happy to see the girls out doing their own thing. And whenever the opportunity comes, they're still able to like interact with each other, or they still like keep in touch with each other. Like Sakura recently talked about on her web series that she's doing on YouTube, is like she still plays games like League of Legends with Haewon and Yena, so that's great.
Fun.
I love that they're keeping in touch and playing games like that. Gamer girls, we love to see it. So yeah, so happy for the girls that they're out here just living their best life as performers.
Doing what they want to do. That's always good. It's fun that it's all varied. Some people are singing, and for instance, Yabuki Nako wants to do acting.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, Minju as well. She was recently in a drama, and I think she recently got like a Best New Actress award for that she was in. I saw a couple of like clips and pictures from it. She looks really cool because it's like sort of a period drama. It looks like.
Okay.
It looks really cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, like you said, very varied across everything. Some of them are in groups, some of them are doing solo stuff. Taewon, before she like had her solo debut, was part of a dance crew actually. So she was, focusing on dance stuff before she started releasing music again. And we all know Taewon is a amazing dancer.
Really cool, really cool.
All right, so moving on to last part of my year in review. Oh, jeez. Somehow this ended up being the best and worst year for Luna simultaneously, because, oh my gosh, it started off so good, and then it all went to hell.
It's at least not boring. Well,
it's definitely not boring, no.
It's something.
It's definitely not. Yeah, okay, so after the group was on the show Queendom, where they were basically competing against all these other girl groups, which they didn't win, they got second place, but that's still an amazing feat considering that they had all gotten sick with COVID during round 1, and so they were exempt from round 1. But they still got second place overall in the show, which is amazing to think of that.
Yeah.
And, they had their summer comeback release with Flip That, which I absolutely love because the whole vibe that I get from this album is just magical girl, mystical, dreamy vibes. I absolutely love it.
Cool.
But then things started to take a turn towards the end of the summer. Because they had their first world tour. They went to the US and Europe, which was, I'll admit, a bit of a mess. It was clear, like, the way that it was set up, it was kind of working the girls out, stressing them out a little bit. Some of them were having health problems. Some of them ended up having to sit out for the European tour entirely. And Chu was not a part of any of this. Chu, who is arguably the face of the group, like one of the most recognizable faces in K-pop, was not a part of any of this? even though this was their first world tour, and during this time, actually, during their New York show, it was their group anniversary. She wasn't there. They announced that they were doing a couple stuff for Japan. They released a new Japanese single, and they announced a concert. Concert got delayed, and it got pushed back to March of this year. Whether or not that'll still be happening, we'll just have to see. And then towards the end of this year, in late November, BBC just made an announcement of like, oh yeah, that Chu girl, we kicked her out because she was going on a power trip and verbally abusing our staff, so we just kicked her out. Everyone called bullshit on that. Everyone was like, this girl, who is one of the sweetest human beings on earth. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. Basically, right now, it is the entire freaking world against BBC, because now the Luna girls themselves, they filed an injunction to terminate their contracts, and pretty much the majority of fandom now is doing a boycott to, basically just boycott BBC, and it did end up working, actually, because they had tried to rush out a comeback with a new mini album. Now it's delayed indefinitely.
Ooh. That's never a good word. That's never a good word.
Nope.
Never. No. So, yeah, this has been a mess because now we are seeing, like, how truly low BBC are going with, like, just abusing their power and like just mistreating these girls for that they've done for so long, and it kind of appalls me that they were able to get away with this for this long. But now people are just like, yeah, calling them out on their bullshit and being like, yeah, no, we're not supporting this anymore.
Good, smart move.
Yeah.
So right now it's just basically a waiting game, because now the majority of members are silent. You know, Chu is still doing her solo work. You know, there are only a couple of members. Hyunjin especially has been very vocal with like talking to fans online, because you know, it's clear that the members know about the boycott and the members are supporting it.
Of course, yeah.
And basically like everyone loves Hyunjin now, because she has been showing the most like vocal support about being like, yeah, I don't want to be part of this. I want us just all 12 of us to be together and do stuff again. And basically just being just a place for fans to talk to. It's kind of comforting for them, especially because, you know, like, you know, she's not doing work, you know, she's out here playing games with fans and like just having a good time, you know, trying to be, you know, a place of like support and comfort for everyone, where like stuff is like, yeah, pretty crappy right now.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, honestly, yeah, it has been rough, and I am honestly wishing the best for these girls. Whatever they end up deciding to do, you know, the ideal situation is, you know, they leave BBC, they sign with a new label, and they are able to reunite as 12 and continue putting out music. But, you know, we'll see whatever ends up happening. I do want to still continue supporting them because I love them all so much.
That's good. Screw the British. So, BBC, I had to do it. Sorry.
That's the thing.
It's too funny.
My friends have said that before, because when I say BBC, the first thing that comes to their mind is like the British company, and I'm like, no, different BBC.
Yeah. It's the first thing too.
Yeah, it's confusing.
It's too funny. Too funny of an acronym to not at least make a little joke out of it. Even though I had a feeling I would have maybe seen like anything on BBC 1 or 2 if this was the case, but I didn't. It's a little funny. Sorry, I had to do that.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so yeah.
But yeah, I do hope that everything will go well.
Yeah, let's hope so. So moving right along, Steve, now with your year in review.
Okay. Yeah, so my year was kind of hectic overall, but in the music scene, it went pretty well. Halfway through the year, I started getting into a lot more groups like I should have in the past. Just as you can see here on the screen, just according to my Spotify Wrapped, which I believe that they end that around the beginning of November, so it's not completely accurate for like a whole year whenever they release in December.
Okay.
I listened to essentially 2,200 songs
That's a lot.
and listened to 261 artists, but obviously I've listened to even more songs and more artists since the end of Spotify Rap Stats ended.
Of course.
So it's probably around like 2,500 songs now. I'm not
Still a
sure
lot.
who the artist, but still a lot. And before we made this video, or at least for the past month and a half, I was keeping track. I made like a Google Sheet keeping track of like what songs were released this year, and there's been at least 923 songs for groups that I like or follow. I cannot
Damn.
believe that there's been that much songs in one year
Oh yeah.
released, but that's a minimum. Obviously, there's groups that I probably forgot or aren't on Spotify because I mainly use Spotify to help with this. Um, and I discovered a minimum of 100 artists and groups.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
that's a lot.
ranging not even just idols, but just bands in general. And from those 100 artists, 25 of them were bands. So I'm just further expanded my music
Mhm.
scene. So yeah, and as if you can see, my top genre there is idol rock,
I'm totally
which makes
surprised.
I know who'd be surprised with that. And of course, Bish number one. Wow, who would have guessed that? Who wouldn't have guessed
No
that?
one. I would have thought it would be the Spice Girls, honestly. I'm still surprised.
Okay, now moving on to the next slide. So obviously, I can't talk about a year in review with me without mentioning Nagoya groups,
Of course.
because
Of course.
of course, once again, this is probably going to sound really arrogant to other people, but I'm probably the most knowledgeable, if not one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to Nagoya groups, because nobody talks about them but me, essentially.
So yeah,
That's
pretty
that's
much.
easy
That's
to
true,
claim that.
yeah.
So, um, this year alone, there's been at least 30 groups that debuted.
Damn.
Jesus.
Some examples: Silent Noise, Mary Muse, which actually has Nardi and Shizuku from Homesick. Um, after that group disbanded, Mad Medicine and Owen Shoujo or BSA Project has a new subunit with Arisa and Kasumi, just those two. Owen Shoujo Okawari, and a group called Jimie, which has Wana from previously Chico Manji Hide, that subunit of Jekyll Hyde. And sadly, I 8 groups have disbanded. I had 9 before yesterday, but apparently one group reformed. So,
Oh,
News.
that's
but
good.
so I gotta pay my respects to these groups and Crazy Break. They are currently in the process of looking for members for like second gen, whatever, for reforming.
Yeah.
A group called Iconic, La
Iconic.
Fluffy, Prism Drop, um, Rubalite, I think is what they're called. Uh, Chirberty, White Vega, and Zetai Kakume, which they're also known as Maji Revel. And there's been a minimum of at least 307 songs from Nagoya groups this
Damn.
year. Because obviously, I don't know every group from Nagoya. There could be groups that I don't know, but there's been at least 307 songs released this year,
Almost
which
very
is
close to one song a year. Or one song a day for 1 year. That's nuts. Like 10 months at the very least.
And if you look back onto the stat where I said that there's been at least 923 songs released this year for groups I follow, that's almost 1/3 in
Yeah.
with just Nagoya groups,
Mhm.
Damn.
which
That's
is
no
It's insane.
surprise.
amazing. I honestly did not expect that many songs coming out from Nagoya groups because they're mostly Chica groups. So that surprised me.
And then when you count it all, and then you're like, oh, I expected not so many. This is a big number.
I was expecting something in like 100 something, if I had to be
Mhm.
honest.
Nah, got 3 times as much. Nah, well, hey, more is good.
Yeah. Um, but I just know that Mad Medicine, the group on the bottom right, since they debuted this year, they've been getting like a kind of little bit of recognition because I've seen like in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in that they've been mentioned a couple times. Then that group on the bottom, Atachu, has another former member of Homesick, Hina, which is the second to the right. So yeah, let's go on to the next slide. So I was very, very happy about this. If you know me and which idols I like,
Mhm.
I was so happy. This all started in 2021, I believe the end of 2021 is when BSJ Project and Hanako-san started playing together occasionally when Hanako-san went to BSJ Project's theater. And they've been playing with each other all year, essentially, because Hanako-san doesn't do a lot of lives in Nagoya, maybe like once a month, once every 2 months. So still a good amount when she goes to Nagoya. She had 6 lives this past year, so I guess once every 2 months if you average that. But and also Owen Shoujo Okawari performed at Hanako-san's birthday live in Tokyo with Takia P. They have gotten along so much, and it makes me so happy. How of I was talking to Derek about this when I was in LA a couple weeks ago seeing Hanako-san's live, which I'll get to later. But it's kind of amazing just how out of all of the Nagoya groups, she has gotten along the most with my group, the one that I saw the most, the one that I have gotten closest to.
Lucky.
I I'm in disbelief. It's so awesome to see like on Hanako-san's Instagram whenever she's talking about either Takio P because I think he did a song for some sort of tokusatsu, I think, show
Hmm.
in the past. But she's even like a fan of Owen Shoujo's music. And it's just so funny when I see her fangirling on Instagram stories about it. It makes me so happy. And then also, Takia P, the producer of BSJ Project Owen Shoujo, collaborated on a song on her new album called Idol Yokai Hanako, which fantastic. Also, Derek as well, which we'll get to the next slide.
Hmm.
Good transition from Owen Shoujo
Mhm.
to them.
Nice
It's
transition.
just 14th generation of the Toho Hanako-san herself. So, like I said, she released a new album this year, 11 songs
Yeah.
called Sekai Toire no Hi, so World Toilet Day. Um, collaborated with multiple producers, Derek included, as well as Takia P, and there was, I believe, one other artist that appeared on her new album. She's been performing in Nagoya a lot more, and she went to LA for the second time on December 18th, which I went and saw. And the last time that she did was 4 years ago at Eats Meets West, which I also went to. That's the first time
Mm.
I met her. That's how I found her out and discovered her. It's
That's
all
right.
thanks to
That was
Derek.
4 years ago. Plus, you had an interview with her. That's up on our
I did.
channel.
Oh yeah.
I I did have an interview with her.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Man, long ago.
Mm.
Can't believe it was 4 years ago.
Damn, time flies.
Time flies.
Yeah. Now with that, I'll be getting into Whack. Of course, once again, I cannot help but talking about Whack if I have to do a year in review, because Whack is essentially my favorite um company, music company. So to start off, we have both Bish and Biss. So technically, Bish announced that they were disbanding on December 31st of 2021, and they just announced, I think a week or so ago, that they'll officially be disbanding on June 29th at Tokyo Dome. So they're going to Tokyo Dome before
Hey.
AKB
AKB.
goes back.
Yeah, yeah, true. True. Yep.
Um, yep.
Wow.
And when they announced that, they also said that they were going to release 2 new songs every single month this past year. Personally, me, I kind of like the songs that they release at the beginning of the year more than towards the end of the year.
Hmm.
So they've at least released 24 songs. Um, and then besides that, like the members have been doing their own individual things, like Aina with her solo career, and Hashiatsume Atsuko with like her variety programs, because I know that she's in a couple of those. And Momoko released a novel earlier this year. I think it had to do
Oh.
with, it's either Alice in Wonderland themed or some fairy tale themed, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
Um, and then with this, they released 5 songs total, with 3 singles: "Da Da Dance," "Song," "Believe," and "Hey Boy Hey Girl." They ended up acquiring a new member, Hyuga, in October, and we were all so happy because she would then completed the 5-member set of what this was originally supposed to be.
Mhm.
But however, just last month, it was announced that Ito, Musan Stibu, and Neo Trees were going to be leaving the group.
Oh,
Ugh.
yikes.
So it seems cursed that there'll never be a 5-man group,
Oh,
Yikes.
and it really sucks.
yeah. And in 3
Um,
months there will be 2 new members, and then 2 months later, yeah, another one gone.
Yep. Yep,
It's a
that's
curse.
just how it's gonna be. And Musan Stibu was my favorite member of
Hmm.
this group, just because her name kind of sounds like my name. That was really
That's
that was the main reason
Steve.
when the group started.
totally not weird reason. No, it's not a reason. I
Nope,
can't
nope,
imagine.
not at
No,
all,
and I'm
not at
okay.
all.
I sound like I'm joking, but I'm not. No, sorry. I may be laughing, but it makes sense. It makes total sense. I mean, there are actors that are like Firth and Fallon, and you know exactly who they are because I've shared the same name, so it's not weird at all. It's just it's fun to hear that someone else has that too.
Exactly.
So I'm not alone.
So then moving on to the next 2 WAC groups, we have Gang Parade and ASP. So Gang Parade actually reformed and combined again from Go to the Beds and Paradises after they split up, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. But since they've been back, they released 3 singles, Parade Goes On, Signal and Priority, as well as an album, Welcome to Gang Parade, that had 3 versions, and the complete version has every single song released by Gang Parade, Go to the Beds, and Paradises to date. So if you want to get an album, it's probably better to get that album because
the
it has
master
all the
album.
songs.
Yeah,
It's a master album.
137. Damn.
It has
That's
to be on like
long.
multiple discs, right? So it's just like
Oh yeah, it definitely has to. I don't see how you can get that many songs on like
One
2-3
disc.
discs. And now we have ASP, which honestly after Bish disbands in June, I think ASP will be my favorite whack group because of like the style of music that they have. They released one album, Placebo, and 3 singles, Bollocks Hyper Cracker, which was actually their first major single of the year, and I Won't Let You Go. For a total of 18 songs, they signed under Avex, which also, if I remember correctly, Bish is under, and SKE, if I remember correctly, they're under Avex.
Yes.
So, big company.
Mm-hmm.
They also gained 2 new members from a WAC audition this year, Riantown and CCCCCCC. I don't remember what the like official like how you say that name, but she is actually a former HKT member,
Cool.
Kamishima Kaide. So it's kind of funny to see like her transition from being like this traditional idol, cutesy traditional idol,
To
to this whack image, which is
Yeah.
completely different.
Oh yeah. Really cool.
Completely different. So that was nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then moving on to the next 3 whack groups. We have XYs. They were actually formerly Empire. Um, for a little bit of time, they were just called Moto Empire, just former Empire. And then since then, they released 2 singles and an album for 11 songs. And one of the members went on, Midoriko went on an indefinite hiatus due to chronic health problems, which is not good
No.
to hear about. And honestly, probably Empire is probably like the group, the whack group that I always forget about the most, being in whack. Even though like I just don't really care for their sound and music that much. And then we have Mamashiba no Taigun, released 3 singles, Sakura Hero, Mom Enjoy, and Must Change for 5 songs. So Kaide Phoenix graduated on December the 17th. And it was just announced today, if I remember correctly, but they got 2 new members today.
Oh.
Cool.
I don't remember their names, sadly.
So short,
Yep.
makes sense.
And then now of now, she actually won a competition that Mama Shibano Taigen had, and she will receive a solo debut reward sometime in the future. Don't know when. Just like XY's, surprisingly, Mameshiba no Taigen has kind of like fallen off the radar for me this past year. Because if I had to be honest, the songs that they released this year weren't that good. So it's kind of understandable for them being forgettable. And then something that I actually don't have on here, but apparently they had some sort of competition earlier this year where if they didn't meet their goal, the members were supposed to force graduation, so essentially fired if they didn't meet that goal.
Okay.
And I think 2 or 3 of them failed their goal, so they were supposed to get fired. But then Watanabe kind of was surprised, and then he kind of just like, "What? They're fired?" And they just kind of reinstated them, anyways. But however, Watanabe put an ultimatum on them, though. Yeah, he said if the members don't improve in a year, then they are going to get fired. So
Okay. Gotta work.
Feels like mixed signals are being sent.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Kind of
Yeah.
convoluted.
from what I've seen, it's more like in other Discords. I think it was like an attitude that the members had towards staff and
Oh,
everything. Like they were
that makes sense. Yeah.
amazing, so they haven't been getting along with staff and other program staff, like show staff. So it makes sense why that ultimatum was made. And then WAG, which was essentially the Kenkyusei group for WAC, they just disbanded on October the 18th. They
Just like that.
didn't really do anything. Yep, just like that.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yep.
It's just like, okay,
And-
bye.
And then finally, the two new WAC groups. Oh boy.
Yeah, literally.
Well, I'm happy. I honestly was hoping that I think it was Gab would have joined us because I wanted to hear their reaction to seeing this. So yeah, they have two new groups. One called Boys Group, that is literally the name of their group.
Simple. I like it.
I mean, it's going to be hard to find when you search. Let me
Right,
tell you that.
right. We were literally talking
Yeah.
about this. It's just like, if you search up whack boys group, it's like it might be easy to find, but still, like, it's just boys group,
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's not a name,
Right,
It's more
right.
like something it's like girl group, you got an entire list and that's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, so you're probably going to literally have to put in whack either before or
Probably.
after when you search for
Mhm.
this group. And they're WAC's first ever boy group, which is going to be interesting because WAC has revolutionized the idol scene in general. So they actually got their first 3 members in the beginning of 2022, and their last 3 members at the end. They're about to release a debut album on the 18th, which I'm looking forward to so much. They actually released a music video of their song BG.
Yeah, we just watched that before we
Yeah.
recorded.
Because it's their first album, it probably gonna have to grow on me because
Right,
I
of
still don't
course,
really know their
there's
sound
always room
because
to
it's only
grow,
based on
especially
one
when
song.
they're a new group.
But yeah, and then the thing that happened on December 7th, which I was just so happy to read all these comments, just seeing K-pop fans just being appalled with the reveal of the name and of course the logo.
The logo.
Oh, it was
Right,
so great.
I mean, it's a good way to see that
yeah,
they're a
if
boy
not
group
by the
because
name,
it's
it's
quite
gonna be
obvious.
easy to recognize the
Yeah.
group by the logo.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna say it. It speaks for itself.
Obviously, we can't say that here on YouTube.
Nope.
So
Nope.
Because YouTube is a logo. That's YouTube for you.
okay.
That's the best way I can do.
It was a great way for them to find out about the group. It was just so funny just seeing all the comments are like, do they know how did this get through? How do you let this happen? What was management thinking? But they just don't know. It's whack.
They don't
It's
understand.
Watanabe-san.
They know what
don't
they're
care.
doing.
Pseudo
This
Watanabe.
is what's expected from them. We're used to this.
It's
Us
how
who are
whack
familiar
market.
with J-pop and especially whack, we know that this is their brand.
Yep.
Yep.
No, but not everyone is. And then you look at it and it's like, wait. And then there's one person 5 minutes later, oh, now I get it. It's always this one. It's like, I don't know what's happening. And then I thought, oh, and then, oh, yeah. Oh, well. good what's the word I'm looking for? It's good attention. Good news for them.
And then we have the other whack group, which I was not expecting whatsoever. However, with boys group, I knew that whack was working on a boys group, but this just came out of left field, out of nowhere. The group Tunai Bolsho. So they formed from a competition from Suyobi no Downtown, which Kuro-chan is on all the time, with a competition called just Monsters Love Competition. On December 14th, it was that sudden. And once again, Kuro-chan's involved in the group, which is fantastic. Kuro-chan was involved with Mameshiba no Taigun from the beginning, being their producer, manager, whatever you want to call them. And it was kind of funny because like on that show, just Watanabe-san came out of nowhere and just announced that the 3 finalists of this Monsters Love competition were making the group. And then a day later, they released their debut single called
Jaina.
Cookie. And they are actually official rivals of Mameshiba no Taigun. So once again, look at Mameshiba no Taigun, try to get them to be serious. And actually, the point of that competition was actually to get Kuro-chan a girlfriend. So the whole entire time, it was about that. And then just at the very end, Watanabe was like, "Oh yeah, these 3 girls are making this group." So actually, the one girl that won, Richie, the girl on the left, she just graduated because she's now Kuro-chan's girlfriend. So
Escalated quickly.
It's not. I'm not surprised anymore.
Never boring.
Just debut an idol group to find yourself a girlfriend. You know.
I mean, I would be surprised if it hadn't happened yet. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Is that weird? Is that me? I don't know. It's just yeah, I'm not surprised. But maybe it's still.
I'm not sure what to say to this.
but I'm
Japan.
pretty sure that there was no knowledge of there ever being a grouping made of this. It just happened out of nowhere.
Boom. Group.
So yeah. So now they'll be looking for new members for this group.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Oh, they also released the MV to Cookie on that same day, and it was #1 trending in Japan during the time.
Good. I hope.
Yep. So I don't know what we're gonna do next because the next part was germ section.
Yeah,
So
we'll just skip over this and go straight into Michael's year in review section since Jeremy is not here to discuss this. So, Michael.
Hello. So yeah, I guess I'm the resident Sakamichi fan nowadays. I don't have the attention. I don't have the attention span to follow any more groups. So yeah, in general, the big thing that happened with Sakamichi obviously is a lot of graduations. I guess most notable in 2022 being Watanabe Risa and Segayuka from Sakurazaka, and then there was also Saito Asuka from Nogizaka.
And then today, Mike.
Oh yeah, and then today we gotta add that to the list.
Today.
Captain Akimoto Manetsu. Like 2 captains gone in the span of who knows how long. Yeah. Well, I guess for singles wise, relatively quiet from Sakurazaka, who are honestly my main group. But yeah, as the slideshow, you can see from the slideshow, Nogi's released 3 singles, Hinatazaka released 2, and Sakurazaka also released an album. Oops. But yeah.
Which, yeah,
I
that makes sense,
honestly,
even if they just released, like, one single, they had, like, a big album and stuff like that, so,
yeah,
kinda makes up for it.
um, yeah, I actually honestly haven't listened to Noggy's 31st single, but the other two singles that they released this year, I liked all of the songs.
Mm.
I agree, because we listened to that together.
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
whole listening party.
Sakura Zaka's first single, some of the songs I met on, others I liked, but yeah. I've, with Hinata I haven't really followed them as much as I used to.
Mm.
Their seventh single was their first single with Kosaka Now back as center after her hiatus,
Mm.
and then their most recent single Skito Hoshi ga Odoru Midnight is their as I said, most recent single with Saito Kyoko as center. So one of my personal oshies.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
This song and music video to Odoru Midnight wasn't what I was expecting for the song, but I liked it.
Hmm.
And then for Sakurazaka's album, as you know, they tied that up with their second tour, which I will get into in a bit. But
Right.
all in all, I did like most of the new songs in the album.
Good.
Even though there were only like 5 songs. So, yeah.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. A lot happened in terms of concerts and lives. So most notable ones that I've put down are Watanabe Risa's graduation concert. It was a 2-day concert back in May, I'm fairly certain. And then all three groups had summer tours, or had national tours. Sakurazaka's wasn't in the summer, but yeah. And then following on from last year, there was Double Keiki Fest, which didn't really include any crossover performances from Sakurazaka and Hinatazaka. It was just like separate days of concerts. But actually, after Hinatazaka's, I think it was they had to cancel Sakurazaka's days for the initial concerts for Double Keiki Fest, but because members got COVID and they had to cancel
Yeah,
those
I was
dates.
about to say there were several like some COVID cases with some of them.
Yeah, there was like 5 members who caught it day before the first day of their concerts, so they had to cancel both days. But they did reschedule it to August 20th and 21st, so it was a good concert. In terms of photo books, because I do have like 2 of the photo books I've listed here. Tsugai Yuka released a photo book before her graduation titled Taisetsu na Mono. It's right beside me. Like, the memories. Because, like, with other graduation photo books, like, there were, like, interviews with the members and interviews with, like, people she's worked with, like Tsuchida and Sawabe, Takahiro Sensei, who's the choreographer. It's kind of a good memory of Yuka, I guess, even though she's still active as an actress. But yeah, I swear I'm not a Moriya Ranoshi. She just happens to appear a lot. But her first photo book, completely out of left field, like yeah, my god.
Says enough.
Yeah, yeah. It's as the title says. Like, you see many different sides of her in that photo book, and I think if you were to get a photo book, that would be the one. But that list is not including everything that got released. I know Kobayashi Yui released her second photo book. Higashimura May released her first photo book as well.
I want to get that so bad.
I've been meaning to get that. Two I haven't talked about on the list: Kanemura Miku and Kaki Haruka released photo books last year as well. I think Kaki's is the highest selling, one of the highest selling Nogi photo books, just behind Ikuta Erika's Intermission, I think it was. So, yeah. In terms of the tours, there were like members missing left, right, and center, like for Nogi's concert in Tokyo. Like multiple members were missing during different portions of the tour due to health. Hayakawa Seira was on hiatus at the time. I'm fairly certain. I could be wrong there. During the Meiji Jingu concerts in Tokyo, Kakehashi Sayaka fell off the stage during the first day. She missed the last 2 days, and I think she's on a hiatus at the moment to recuperate from her injuries, which I cannot remember and I forgot to write down. So, yeah. During Sakurazaka's second tour, Endo Hikari was on hiatus during majority of it, only fully coming back during the group's final concerts at Tokyo Dome. I'm guessing mainly because it was Sugayuka's graduation concert on the second day. So, and then for Hinatazaka, Ushio Saruna didn't participate in the first two sets of concerts due to a shoulder injury. And Miyata Manamo didn't participate at all due to health, but she also announced her graduation 3 days before the tour began. So, you know, and in and amongst tours and singles and stuff, new members were announced for both Hinatazaka and Nogizaka. Nogizaka's fifth gen was riddled with riddled with scandals.
Yep.
Yeah.
Already?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When they first debuted.
Yep. So they debuted with 11 members. Technically 8 because 3 didn't debut with the other 8 because of school. I'm fairly certain they were Kawasaki Sakura, Okamoto Himeka, and I think Okuda Iroha. And their teaser videos were revealed between March and April. Yeah. Do I want to talk about the scandals? Because let's just say certain members' behaviors before debut to other people kind of irked people, and especially with one member getting airdropped the center for actually, yeah, it really didn't hit the right way with a lot of Nogi fans.
Yep.
Following on from that, Hinatazaka's fourth gen debuted with 12 members, also getting teased, I think, around September. Only being revealed from September 2nd to 22nd to October 3rd on the variety show. I'm personally a Shogenji Yokoshi. She's cute. But I haven't focused really much on 4th gen as much as I need to. As I wrote this slide, there wasn't a specified date for Sakurazaka's 3rd generation. However, a few days ago, they announced that they were revealing they have 11 members, and they're teasing each of them every day at 12 p.m. JST on the group's official site, except for 2 members who won't be revealed until March due to their studies. So, I'm hyped for that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of being hyped for things, the group during their second anniversary, it's not really a concert per se. It was titled Second Anniversary Buddies Kanshasai or Buddies Thanksgiving. It was announced that the group would be releasing their fifth single on February 15th, so after Valentine's Day. And during the, I want to say Christmas Day, broadcasted their variety show Soko Magatara Sakurazaka. The formation for the title track was announced. As I said, as Afro mentioned earlier, Moriya Rano will be acting as center for the first time. Other firsts include Masumoto Kira's first appearance in the title track and Ozono Rei's first appearance in Sakura 8. So, push of the new gens, the new second gen, because that's half of the girls who debuted in 2020. So,
Oh,
and
that's
it's
gonna
other
be awesome actually, because we talked about it a little bit. And guys, I'm sorry I have to say, but I might have to go, so we might have to split this discussion into two parts before we get into the Idol Awards section. But we can
that's
wrap up
fine.
with talking about this because I'm really excited to see what direction they'll go for this single, especially since they have a new center with Mori Arena.
Mhm.
We did get the teaser image for it and the title for the single, which is
Yes.
Sakurazuki. So it
Mhm.
looks really pretty.
I don't know what direction they're planning for this single, because obviously, as you said, new center, and everybody is expecting a cute kind of song from Rena because she's the burrito kara in Sakurazaka. She's always the cute one. But considering that artist photo, plus the fact that you have a freaking powerful second row with like all of the other girls who have centered, plus also no, of course.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Plus,
I'm
I
hoping.
remember you telling me about this, everyone, you just said just now, like, everyone was expecting this to be a cute song since, considering their center. You said that people said the exact same thing about Tamura Hono centering a single before
Yes.
Nagare Dama came out, and we saw how that was. So this could be a complete left turn, and it could be something we're not expecting from Rena at all, which makes it even more exciting.
Then again, there is Kobayashi Yui flanking her to the left, and knowing Yui Von, that girl can dance. So
Koike
maybe
too. Koike and Minami flanking the
Koike,
other side as well. It's like
Koike can dance too, but like
mhm.
who knows? Who knows?
Well, we
I'm just
shall
hyped.
see. Hopefully, when more news comes out
Hopefully.
for this.
Hopefully, and I'm hungry.
But yeah, so yeah, unfortunately, we are gonna have to wrap this up and split this into two parts. Maybe however soon we can get this recorded, I can try to snip it into like, one combined video. But yeah, we're gonna wrap things up for now, and then we're gonna head to a little bit more discussion before we head into the Idol Award section. So yeah, we'll just see you guys there. All right, we are back. We are here. We've had a bit of a change of clothes now, I think, most of us.
Yep.
And
5
Jermy
minutes is enough
here
to change
now.
your clothes, Just 5 minutes. We just took a small little break.
Of course.
It totally wasn't like 2 days or something. No.
So yes, Jeremy, good morning. Thank you for joining us here today.
Yeah.
And we are actually going to start pick up from where we left off in our discussion, and now we're going to go to you for your year in review. So go ahead, the floor is yours.
So, this 2022, I've listened to mostly Sakabichi and Sashihara groups, but Steve has introduced me into a world of underground idols, lesser known Nagoya groups, stuff that really is a it's just something you don't hear like on the mainstream when it comes to J-pop and idol music. I mentioned here that at the time my favorite J-pop idol group, 26 O'Clock Masquerade, disbanded at the end of October, and that really hurt because I really didn't get a chance to. I felt I didn't get a good chance to really take in their music, really be a fan. As long as some of these other people have, and that's on me because you missed out. Um, so that sucked. I'll go into more about them here in a second. Nogizaka has released some of the best tracks I've heard this year, especially with their 30th single. It's actually their 30th single release it's the only Nogizaka thing I've listened to pretty much all year. Rino Sashihara is a genius, I gotta say. Everything that she's produced has been good. My least favorite being Equals Love. That was her first produce. But Not Equal Me being my favorite one. They have great bangers. Absolute good. Nearly Equal Joy is still growing on me. They haven't really. They have a mixed genre, I should say. Nothing they released sounds the same, I should say. Like you can kind of get like a pattern with some of these groups. They've released like different genres of music over 2022 with the 3 to 4 songs they've released.
Is it fair for me to say that it's kind of like AKB, where it's like not
Little
quite
bit,
the same?
little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Their latest single was like a kind of like a hard rock type deal. Something I've never like would have expected. It's good. I like it. But yeah, these underground groups, these have just they've kind of blown everything else I've liked out of the water lately. Steve, he introduced me
I'm happy.
to Idol Underworld, and they basically just showcase a bunch of smaller groups, stuff that doesn't have the kick off the ground. Laywan being a big one. iLife is actually like gaining some huge notoriety and popularity lately. I'm very surprised. They do some chants and calls in their songs, which is awesome. Like what Steve was telling me the other day, it shows that they care about their fans. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. There's not really a thing for it, but KRD8, hard EDM. Like I like it a lot. They bump. This group, Tokyo Syoki Shodo, I guess they're pretty popular. I've never heard of them, but they're like a hard rock, a hard idol rock type deal. Some hard metal elements into them. But yeah, that's mostly Sakamichi for me, all of 2022. And until Hello Project gets put on Spotify, it's YouTube for them for me. So
I
don't know if it's like a contract licensing type deal with their production company. But recently, Up Girls and Up Girls 2 were under Upfront, which is the parent company for Hello Project.
Yeah.
They strayed away from Upfront and they're under a new production company now. No idea who they are, forget who they were, but they were for a while the only like Upfront stuff on Spotify, as far as I knew.
Okay then.
Long live YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. Yeah. But
When in
Never
doubt,
lets us down.
Out of the Up Girls stuff, Up Girls 2 is probably my favorite because they have the more upbeat sound to them.
Hmm. But yeah, that's cool though, and kind of something I talked about like a while back too is that I did used to listen to a lot of Equal Love's early stuff, and then I kind of fell off of them, you know. Sometimes I go back and try to listen to more of their recent stuff, but I really haven't been keeping up with any of their recent stuff, especially for the newer groups too. So yeah, that's really cool to hear like your thoughts on them. So it definitely makes me curious and like taking some time to try and check more out from them.
I think I linked earlier when Tokyo Idol Festival was going on. They actually covered Glass Noir.
I do remember that. Yeah,
Break the Glass by
that was
Kei
cool.
Oh
Akazaka.
yeah, I remember
It was
that.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, moving on to the next slide here.
This again about 26 o'clock masquerade. They I don't know, it was just one could argue they were just, the generic idol group. They had nothing really particularly special about them, but it was something that I really got into just because of their aesthetic, their, real calm, soothing. It's just good tunes. Harmony for the Future was their last song, and it was kind of like a bittersweet farewell to their fans. It was heartbreaking. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it's always bittersweet to see an idol group, especially if you particularly like that idol group. It's always bittersweet to see them like disband.
It sucks because they were around since 2016, and I didn't really get into them until about near the end of 2020, actually.
Yeah, been
Ah.
there. Sucks.
Yeah, I know how that is too. Like joining a group late and then they disband
Yeah.
shortly after you get into it. It's like, oh, I wish I appreciated them sooner.
Yeah.
Whew, okay.
It hurts.
So on this next slide, I just found this out earlier today. No, it's kind of hard to keep track of all the Nagoya idols individually when there's over 100 Nagoya
Yeah.
idol groups.
Yeah.
So I'm bound to miss something, and this something just happened to be huge that I did not realize until today. So on August the 4th, Wonder Snake member Hizumi Iris Hijiri sadly passed away. We don't know how old she was. There was never a birth date or age that they were given, so most likely not an adult yet. And then after her death, all of the acts under Dramatical Records held a memorial life for her on August the 14th. Now, her last tweet that she made was kind of foreshadowed something that had to do with maybe something health wise. I'm just gonna bring this up with a horrible translation from Google Translate. But it gets the general gist of the idea of how this foreshadowed what happened. Because after this tweet, her birthday was the next day on August the 1st, and then 3 days later she died.
Oh.
So the tweet goes, after today's live, I took the train home and fell. When I realized I'm home, I'm asleep. And when I realize I'm awake, it's all about me. I'm pretty sure that is a horribly translated from Google Translate. And then the next thing goes, I don't remember falling asleep. So the feeling is a little different from the usual falling asleep. What is this? So just based on the last two sentences that she had, there's very possible that she had maybe some sort of disease and she didn't know. Because if you just out of nowhere just start passing out and you don't know why,
Yeah.
that's probably what happened. And it's just a very sad thing. Currently, Wonder Snake now only has one member
Oh,
left because when they were a trio, the other member left in November. But that one member is still doing lives under the Wonder Snake name, so
Hmm.
technically
Fun.
solo for now, but still under the Wonder Snake name. So I'm pretty sure that they're gonna try to get new members for the group again. But
happen to
I
any of
just
us.
I just had to bring this up because I feel really bad that I didn't know about this.
No,
And it's
that's
actually
okay.
something very big
That's okay.
It
Mm.
that I
could
felt like
happen to
needed
any
to
of
talk
us.
about.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
like the idol world is like so big and so busy, it
Yeah, you're bound to miss something.
yeah. But I can understand your guilt, especially something like this, if she was having like severe health problems, that like that is really sad to hear, And like
yeah,
in any situation like this, whatever the cause is, it's just always sad to hear, like for an idol to go and getting the news like
Oh yeah.
this, but
mm,
it is sweet that like they held a memorial live to honor her memory, so that was really nice.
yep.
Mm. All right, so last topic before we move on to the Idol news. So before we move on to the Idol awards, actually, this was a pretty big announcement. So Okada Nana, shortly after they had come out with our good old friends at Bunshun article,
Hey.
came
Every
out
single
with
time.
a article revealing that she was spotted out on a date with a guy. I forget who the guy is, it's just slipping my mind. But after that article came out, Nana announced that she is graduating from the group. And I have here a bit of a translated part of one of her messages on like her graduation announcement, but oh boy. Again, it's just one of those situations, it's always
It's wrong.
bittersweet to see an idol like, leave a group and graduate. But in this particular situation, it's just really sad.
And wrong.
And wrong,
Yeah.
yes, especially because,
Yeah.
Bunshun at it again.
Ruining the
Who else
fun for
but
everyone.
Bunshun?
Gotta love the good old
Every time.
paparazzi.
Every time.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate because you hope someone with her record
Exactly.
you would go and on a positive note and not do this.
Right.
It's it's weird. I think there was like Discord on Twitter
Yes.
Yeah.
regarding it, and when this was happening, I was like playing the new Pokemon games. So so I was not
As everyone
quite.
was.
Oh, thank God. Oh, I was not
Yeah.
really following it, but like every time I would come back on Twitter, it's like literally a new chapter in the story where it's like she was spotted. There was a message. Mion came out, and that did not go that well. I heard, and
That made it
then
worse.
yeah, okay, which is on one hand I'm like kind of happy that she's like kind of speaking out, but because I think that's Mion for you.
Right, exactly. And
Uh,
she's the general manager of the group too, so it makes
Yep.
sense that she would want to
If
speak out
someone would.
against this.
Yeah, and I think that's she meant to do the right thing, but that apparently
was
wasn't.
just
Fired.
Yeah.
It's just very unfortunate. Again, you hope that someone with her, and it's like just a guy, I mean, who cares? I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the fact that people thought that she was with Yuri or whatever. I personally don't care anyway, in the sense that whoever she wants to be with, that's fine.
No, right, exactly.
And
Obviously, we can talk about it, and she's talked about it herself about, being bisexual, but that's her business if she wants to talk about it or not. It's not for any of us to pry into her personal life like that and judge her on like who she wants to date.
The only thing that I would say is that I do remember, I forgot when it was, but it was during a Susenkyo. It might have been during the
2017, I
Tsuto
believe.
Ririka
Yes, it was.
debacle.
Okay.
She
where
spoke
she
out
did
about,
say like, well, I'm condescending it, but she said something along the lines of, don't quote me on this, where this was not good. And I'm like, and knowing, well, not knowing, but you know what I mean with that. Nana, it's like, yeah, she would feel like this, and it makes sense. But what I want to mean with that is that it was years ago, like 4 at least. And I'm like, if you want to use that as to like, oh, this is not good, you are a hypocrite, la la la, then I'm like, that's, as someone who doesn't like hypocrisy, I'm like, yeah, that's fair. But on the other hand, I'm like, this was 4 years ago. That's a long time.
Right,
People
exactly.
can change.
People
It's like,
can change.
If this was a year ago, I would have been like, but 4 years is like, whatever. And she's like 25. She can do what she wants, and she has the
Grown adult.
the resume to at least, you would think that with her resume that she would maybe be fine with it, but nope. And then you have this whole debacle where it's like, yeah, you're not ending on a high note, and that's just
that's really the sad thing too, because she is like a very popular member and a very highly acclaimed and respected member of the group. Like, she has been part of the group for a long time, and is like, her reputation has grown so much. People have seen her personality, what she is like, on and off stage.
Yep.
And we always talk about like how majime, or how serious or diligent she is, but it's true. But that's because she cares about the group and the people that she's with so much.
Yep.
So like it is kind of sad to think about, like how she's probably not going to get any like fanfare for her graduation. The ideal situation would be like, it would be this big concert event. She'd have like, a beautiful graduation song and like a pretty dress or whatever she wants to wear for her graduation
like so many
ceremony.
before her.
All the members sending her off in this big, huge moment. It's like, and the fact that this happened essentially because the paparazzi spotted her on a date and decided to pry into her private life, and now we're probably not going to get that for her, sucks.
Yep.
That's what
I was thinking. I'm like, I honestly don't think that she's gonna get a grad concert or grad song now. If I have to be completely honest, I don't think that's gonna, because of the amount of backlash that happened on Twitter and all of that. I mean, granted, like, I typically don't care, in my personal opinion, because she does whatever she wants, even though like that hypocrisy of the Sosenkyo, that's kind of a little bit toward to me. Like, I feel like, yeah, that was kind of hypocritical, but
4 years ago, it's like,
I just don't really care.
She's not hurting anyone, so it's just a relationship. If it is a relationship, I can't be 100% sure, but if it is,
but I definitely know that I feel like this wouldn't have been blown out of proportion if it wasn't for the hypocrisy quote from Sosenkyo, and then also people thinking that she was well, I just had it in my head, but I just kind of forgot it.
It's okay.
Gay baiting, I believe the term that I was seeing on Twitter. Just because of those two things, this was blown out of proportions like it shouldn't have.
And then they were silent. When I say they, I mean Nana and Mion for like days. I think it was even like news, using the term loosely, where I saw J-Pop Network, I think, tweeting about that she tweeted for the first year. And it's like, that's kind of news now. So that goes to show that she was really quiet. And normal, kind of, sweeping it under the rug.
And the funny
letting it
thing
quiet.
is,
Yeah.
the reason why I say that this was blown out of proportion because of, I believe, the hypocrisy and the queer baiting, whatever, is because you guys probably didn't hear, but Hatori Yuna, who also just announced graduation,
Yeah,
she got
I know.
caught up,
I know.
and she got caught up into a scandal as well. But I didn't really hear anybody talking about that
I
whatsoever.
didn't hear about this either.
Neither did
I
I.
looked on Twitter. I saw the hashtag. She ended up like kissing a stage actor.
Yeah,
just
that
like
was
really
actually
fast, and that was it. And I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. That's it.
Okay.
And nobody knows. I know, I heard it, but like no one is going to particularly care about a Team 8 member that they might not even know about. It's like, yeah, she kind of did something of the same. It's not the first, not the last.
I think to kind of give another bit of my 2 cents on the whole debate between like the hypocrisy thing, I think it's also important to remember the context of both situations. Because, like, Na-chan's case, she was exposed by paparazzi and it got into a scandal. Suto Ririka's case, she made the announcement herself on national TV during the Sosenkyo of that year, which is like a big, huge event for the group.
That, I think, kind of
but there's a
overshadowed
reason behind that.
Was there?
Yeah, because Bushin was gonna publish it the next day, and she wanted to
yeah.
up Bunshun.
Oh, okay.
So that's why she ended up doing it.
Yeah, what better time to do it than there? It's like, well, I can kind of see that. I mean, personally, but that's really, black and white kind of mentality. I would prefer like spoken word over written word, but that's me. But that's, black and white mentality in this kind of scenario.
Makes sense.
It's like, well, that's one up, do it there.
It's not like
make your case.
It's not like other members haven't made big announcements during the Sosenkyo event. It's normally graduations. Graduation announcements sometimes have happened during the Sosenkyo event. But like marriage is like a completely different beast.
Yeah, that's true.
When you think about AKB's image as well, like the perceived image that they've kind of branded themselves as, like the idols you can meet, like kind of doing that on the big stage when your group is labeled as such, I can understand why people would put off by that, I guess.
Which I think that as well would also bring us to this next discussion, which I have on a separate slide here. So like the whole controversy surrounding like the dating ban itself and kind of that whole concept that you were talking about is just like, at this point, do we need this?
Yeah, like, who cares?
Exactly.
I've always been more or less of the opinion that for the starting members, Kenkyusei, not a bad idea. For like first 3 years for the Kenkyusei, I think that's a decent idea. But after that, who cares?
Yes,
it's personal life.
This was actually something I discussed with my friend Sky as well, and I kind of got her opinion on it. Even though she doesn't follow a lot of the more recent AKB stuff, I did kind of talk with her about this. And she brought up an interesting prospect, actually. She said, basically for the younger members, those who are still like students, for example, still minors in this case, then probably do enforce that rule for them.
Yeah.
Especially when they are like so young and impressionable, especially. It can be important to like, have these sort of rules in place so they know like how to take care of themselves and stuff like that and what to be careful of in certain situations. And then for the older members, just say you can do whatever you want, let them
grow up first.
Yeah, exactly. Let them grow up first.
Very well
and then
said.
if they feel like they want to pursue a relationship or, explore a little bit of that part of themselves, then let them. Because it's healthy,
Normal. It's human.
Exactly. Like, especially considering some of the certain news that has come out
Yeah.
about certain members, which I don't know if we want to get into that particular
Nope.
can of worms.
No, we do not. No, we do not.
It's
I
No,
really
yeah,
don't.
let's not, but let's
Let's
just
not.
say, it definitely is a bit of a mess, but
yeah.
Mess is putting it lightly, I think.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, like I think just
It's
in light of especially because I also remember seeing a post about like how Mi-chan, Minagishi Minami, she was recently on a show where she was talking about, when her scandal came out, and we all know what
she
happened. She
had a
shaved her
scandal.
head.
What?
Oh,
Never
Yeah,
heard of that.
When did that
Never.
happen?
Must
I
have
don't
not been
remember
here.
any of this.
Sorry for the joke.
No, but yeah, like she was talking about that, and she was talking a little bit about that, how like at that point in time she felt like it was the right thing to do, but like now she looks
Yeah.
back on it and thinks, you know what, that maybe that was not the best
Yeah.
decision to make.
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020.
Yeah, exactly. But
Oh,
like,
well,
what?
yeah.
At that point, she was still young, and it was like a high stress, situation. She was a bit
Yep.
emotionally
blame her.
vulnerable. So, it makes sense she wasn't thinking rationally. But now she looks back on it and just is like, yeah, that younger me was stupid for thinking that.
It happens. It's human.
And then just I just have to say, like, the idol industry has been changing of what people think about dating ever so
Yeah,
slightly,
exactly.
because nowadays we have idols that literally are getting married and are still in the group. We have Momoiro's Clover's one of their members literally just got
Yeah.
married.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Miran from Dempagumi just had a
Almost
child.
I feel like almost
Oh,
everybody from
yeah.
Dempagumi is like married and like
Yeah.
has children. So like dating has been more acceptable in the Chica scene. Obviously, this isn't that much of a problem because they have a lot smaller of a fan base, so it's kind of a lot harder to get caught
Mhm.
because you don't have the paparazzi, or you don't have potentially thousands of fans that could potentially be stalkers. I'm not saying like these people, like these Chica fans, some of them aren't that, but I feel like it's a lower chance. And I do know that some Chica groups do have dating ban rules in their contracts, because I've seen countless times in, like, for some Nagoya groups where they're like, yeah, they breached contract. We found that they were having a personal relationship with a fan or something like that, like outside, and that's the reason why they get fired. But still, for the most part, I feel like
To
they can
me,
keep it on the down low.
to
Mm.
me, at the end of the day, it's a money thing. It
I
affects
mean,
sales. Yeah,
it is business wise. It is
100%. Yeah,
business wise. It is smart to have a dating ban
yeah,
because you get money.
yeah. It's a money
Yeah.
thing.
Mm. Whew. All right then. Quite a heavy topic to
Oh.
end things on for news discussion, but so yeah, with all that out of the way now, we can move on to the Idol Awards section for this year. So we have listed on here, we have 6 topics that we are going to go through one by one and discuss each of our personal picks for what we have chosen for each of these. So first off, we have favorite new discovery of the year for 2022. So, do we want to go in like a particular order, like how it's set up here on the slides, or does someone like, is there anyone who like wants to talk about theirs first? Like,
We can just go in order if you want.
I don't care the slides. You can
Yeah.
just go with the slides.
okay then we'll start with my picks. So I had 2 picks because some of us had like multiple picks for like, certain like
Me.
we'll get into it, but like so I have one for the J-pop side and I have one for the K-pop side. So first up for the K-pop side, the group Purple Kiss. So this group is under RBW, which is the same company that has groups like Mamamoo in them. And I really love these girls. Like, I really just like I was starting to get into them like at the tail end of 2021 where I was checking out some of their music like on the reaction channel as well. I had checked out some videos from him, so I was already interested in getting into the group. But 2022 was when I fully decided that like I was going to support this group because their music is really good vocally, especially. This is like such a vocally strong group. Like literally one of the members, Swan, who is like the youngest member of the group, has this really unique tone to her voice, which I feel like I can't compare to anything else, but like give a comparison that other fans have made based on like some of the songs that she has sung in the past. She sounds like Billie Eilish. Like that is the
Hey,
vocal tone that a lot
pretty
of
unique.
fans like hear from her, and her voice is literally so pretty to listen to. Like in their song Mem Mem especially, there's a part at the start of the second verse that she comes in, and it's like this really nice sounding tone from her that I really love.
They have a song called Meme.
Mem Mem. So it's kind of a play on words with like a sort of Korean onomatopoeia thing, but yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
noticed
like
that that's a real good trend that they do.
yeah, but like that as well as their most recent comeback, you know, to come out so far, Nerdy, kind of had it gave them this whole they already had kind of like a witchy, dark, occult vibe to some of their stuff. They literally had a song called Zombies, so that was like but it was a cute song too. Zombie was like this
Mhm.
really cute song as well. But yeah, Mem and Nerdy especially were like focused on this whole storyline of them being a coven of witches were like, yeah, they're weird, but they kind of take pride in the fact that they're weird. And they, Nerdy especially, it had like, there was this like story film that they did where like two of the girls were in this like, it was kind of like a Weirdos Anonymous circle where they were just like, they were talking to all these types of different people. One of them, funnily enough, was a zombie, and just like all these people who are just like, you know, these marginalized groups of people for one reason or another, and them basically just being like, hey, it's okay for you to be weird or be different and stuff like that. You should wear that with pride. And that's basically what the whole song Nerdy was about. It's just like, yeah, I'm nerdy, but I love myself, and I absolutely love that song. That was like one of my top listened to songs on Spotify at the time. So yeah, Purple Kiss, I just fell in love with them this year and definitely looking forward to what they're gonna be releasing next. A bit bittersweet though, one of the members, June, she recently dropped out of the group, so it's just gonna be 6 of them promoting now. So a little bit sad, you know, that one of them is gone, but still looking forward to what these girls are gonna do next. And then following up after that for the J-pop side, this singer,
Otto's so
Ado,
good.
I'm sure some of you
Uh,
maybe you've heard one or two
Otto's
songs
good.
from this girl. She
so
is
good.
amazing, and I'm kind of feeling guilty that it took me until now to like get into her. You know, granted she's still a fairly new young artist, especially young because she just turned 20 at the end of last year, but like
He's all over my YouTube front page.
yeah, because you know, for a while I just knew her for her one song, Usewa, because everyone was doing covers of it at the time. So I heard this song and I'm like, okay, this is cool, but I didn't really feel the need to check out anything else from her. And then there was a certain album that came out, which we'll talk about later, that when I heard it, that made me immediately curious to check out more for her. And I just fell in love with this girl's voice because uh, again, kind of similar to how I felt about with the Purple Kiss girls with like their vocals is like Ado as a solo singer has such an insane range with like what she can do with her voice and with her songs as well, like whether it's an original or a cover song. She does all these different styles and genres and she can change her voice to match it so perfectly. It just like blew me away to think like she's still so young and you know, still has like this I can only imagine, this huge career ahead of her. Plus, it was recently announced, actually, she's doing a tour this year, actually, in Japan.
I thought you were gonna say the States, and I got excited for a second. I was like, really?
No, not in the States yet, but I feel like it'll only be a matter of time, her growing in
Nothing comes
popularity
to the
still.
States.
But yeah, she's doing a tour in Japan. But yeah, I saw that and I'm like, oh, that's awesome for her, cause I saw a clip of one of her, live stages, because you think this girl Ado, she keeps her identity anonymous. She has this character to represent her, but like we don't know what her real name or face or identity is like. So I'm like, how do you do a live stage with that? And I saw the live stage performance that she did.
You'd be
She's on
surprised.
stage, but she's completely blacked out. You just see her silhouette being lit up from behind, her singing and dancing on stage, and I'm like, that's genius.
Some of these artists get super creative with their lives. Like I was impressed when I saw that as well.
So yeah, that's my pick for the J-pop side. Just was blown away by this girl and her talent, and kind of same way to Purple Kiss, looking forward to more from her. Also, speaking of her character design-wise, I just love the aesthetic of the blue and the blue roses especially.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll go and get something.
Ooh. Present.
Steve, I'm real excited to get to your slides.
Oh, I know.
I don't know if y'all knew this about me, but I happen to love blue roses.
No, that's awesome. Very
I do.
fitting.
I forget when it was that I got this, but like, yeah.
Fits. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You should get a little acrylic stand of Otto. You can find one, put it right next to it. It'll work out real well.
That would be fitting. All right, so next up, moving on. Steve, I believe this is yours.
Yep. Okay, so I kind of super cheated on this category, like really bad. For one, I have a non-idol section because, like, in the previous recording, I was saying how I got into a lot of bands this year, not just idols. So I had to do this. But other than non-idol, I also have just an idol slide as well. But for this, without a doubt in my mind, my two most favorite discoveries from non-idol were Love Bites and Nemophila. My God, both of these groups. So both of these groups and Bandmade, they are known as the big three when it comes to the female bands in Japan. So they have, like Shonen Jump has their big three. There's a big three with female bands, and I love Bandmade so much, but I Love Bites just has won me over so much because it's the style of music that I kind of grew up listening to because of my dad. He's a very classic rock kind of like metal guy. So, and Love Bites is a power metal group. So they didn't release anything in 2022 because their one bassist left. So they were essentially just finding a new bassist through the whole entire year, and they finally found a bassist. I think it was at the end of October or November. But they released one song on their upcoming album, and by the way, spoilers, I'm pretty sure that is probably going to be my album of the year for this year because I love this band so much. And my two favorite songs from them are Epilogue and Edge of the World, because these songs will make you cry. These are like power ballads. And oh my God, Asami, the one in the middle wearing the white.
They're all wearing white.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're all wearing white, and they look mad uncomfortable in those outfits. They look
the group
so
that is
stiff.
wearing white. The group that's wearing white. The center of that picture. Asami.
Okay.
Her voice is probably one of the best voices I have ever heard. Her voice is just so powerful. And then just both guitars. The one next to her on the right is like a shredder, while the one on the far right plays piano
Would you
as well
say
as more as a melodic guitar player.
would you
Yes,
say
sir.
that they're like the Dragon Force of Japan?
I wouldn't say Dragon Force. Because I watch a bunch of reaction videos. A lot of people like kind of compare them to like maybe a Metallica
Okay.
or Iron Maiden, but they also kind of go into like some of these slower songs with
Okay.
like piano, with melodic, like classic rock guitar.
I gotcha.
And then Nemophila, they
Yeah.
are a metalcore band. So essentially, Bandmate, Love Bites, and Nemophila, they all do different genres. So it's so hard to compare each band because they're in different genres. And the the person that stands out is also the singer of this band, Mayu, because she can like has this like screaming like dirty voice that she does in the songs, but then all of a sudden she'll just go to like clean singing and it sounds fantastic. And also Mayu's also the one center for their group picture.
Okay.
um Amazing stage presence. Even Asami, uh going back to Love Bites, she's kind of known as kind of like a stage general because she commands the crowd what to do. Um, and then Mayu just had her first child on November 22nd.
Oh.
So,
Congrats.
and Nemophila is going to tour in the U.S. in
That was
March.
the US tour.
Yeah. I'm not sure about Love Bites. They might have a U.S. tour coming up this year, but I just know that Nemophila, they have a U.S. tour. Now, going on to the Idol section.
Oh, I love this
Whew,
group so much.
let's
They're so good.
go. So, Plank Stars. So, I actually found this group out from my Japanese friends because my Japanese friends love this group. So, my Japanese friends are also like Whack fans, and also they were Zoc fans as well. And then this I this group is 100. I guarantee that they are Whack inspired. Like there is no doubt in my mind they are Whack inspired because their lives are batshit crazy. I showed you some like videos of some of their lives on in one of the Discord groups, and wow. And Germ just linked me to one of their. Oh no, sorry. So I'm getting
It's
ahead of
the
myself.
other one that
So,
I linked you
so
to,
okay,
but yeah,
so
it's still good.
so in late October, going into mid-November, Plank Stars they went to Thailand to do like shows there for a couple weeks and recording music videos and stuff. But in the meantime, while they were in Thailand, their management formed a spin-off group to replace them for those 2 weeks called Nisei Plank Stars. And one of the members is an AV actress. When they first announced this,
Gotta love
she
that.
was the first person that they announced. And we already knew where this was going after that. My God. And the live now this is the live that Germ shared with me, which happened to be in Nagoya. Thank you.
They
Thank
go
you.
Of
Linking
course.
me in Nagoya.
crazy. The crowd
And
is insane.
oh my God. The lives that I went to, even when I went
Oh,
crazy with the Chica lives, this is on a whole other level, other than Hanako-san, but she's different. But people were climbing up onto like the Raptors and hanging on, and just they were
Acting like a
going
bunch of
nuts.
monkeys, dude. Straight up. Straight up. Like, not to cut you off, Steve, but I was reading this article about like the original like the main group Plank Stars. And I read one of the original members left because she couldn't handle like the way the crowd was behaving. There was a
Oh yeah, that
specific
makes sense.
clip of a dude in his underwear being like carried and like touted around like throughout the crowd.
That does not sound surprising to me at all anymore.
So like
Like she thought
during
it was foul.
like during and this group specifically reminds me of the original BIS, because I remember the original BIS would do crazy stuff that whack groups don't even do nowadays. Whack groups are toned down of what they used to be in the past. I was saying, the original BIS, they literally had a music video where the members ran around naked in Aokigahara. That was the music video. It was they were like so out there that Rina Hamu, who went and did Cyber and then started her own group, she was an original BIS member, and she ended up quitting BIS because of the image that they portrayed, being 100% not idols. But Playing Stars definitely took inspiration from Whack.
Mm.
With all of their standing lifts, all their crowd surfing. Oh my god. And those videos that I showed for their New Year's party, the members are literally just giving out shots to the crowd. They're getting drunk. They had like a huge like beer glass, just pouring it on people. Like their lives are crazy.
Like, I'm pretty
Nothing like
sure.
Japan.
Yeah, Steve, you told me that they were coming here to the UK, and like
Yes, they
now,
are
like
for
hearing
free.
that,
Their
yeah,
live is free.
hearing that, and
And
realizing I can't go,
Envy that.
and then I also believe that the original Playing Stars, when they had their Thailand shows, I believe those were free too. So it just seems like Playing Stars just do their shows for free for anybody that just wants to show up. There is no admission fee, because I'm pretty sure they know that
It's
people
just
are going to be
walk in
buying
and enjoy
Checkies
the
and
show.
Groupon and stuff. Yeah.
If it works, it's interesting.
I mean, if it's gonna grab people's attention, then they don't have to pay
Yeah.
anything to go see. If they just happen to be passing by and be like,
exactly.
"What's that?" They
Oh,
can literally
absolutely.
just walk up to the floor where the audience is
That's
standing at and watch them.
fantastic business strategy.
Actually,
Yeah,
yeah, that is kind of
because they know that
genius.
people are going to buy Groupon, Checkies, merchandise.
Mm.
They know that's
Yeah.
that's where the members get their money. So
Mhm.
Of course, yeah.
Makes sense.
yeah,
It's a smart move. Pretty smart, yeah.
Mhm.
not to
All right.
digress.
All right. Next up, Jeremy, it's your turn. You have several picks, so
So my discoveries, they're mostly like stuff that Steve recommended to me, some stuff I found myself, such as Gunjo no Sekai. They have a couple songs that are really like low to the ground, real mellow, similar to Nijimas. Nagoya Color Love it's weird. I showed this to Steve, and Steve was like, I can't
I,
find any lives for this group. Like, well, do they
yeah, I
even
was
exist?
confused because I didn't
Um,
see their name when I was in Nagoya at all,
it's
at any venues.
they're a very, I should say, a very mature like trio. A few of their songs kind of have like a Morning Musume sound to them. I couldn't see I couldn't find anything about maybe Sunku producing any of them. Uh, but a couple of them, I think it's can't think of the song name, but it sounds like a Morning Musume song. Like I said, at 1-5, they're actually terrible, but I do like them.
Oh,
So terrible in a good way. I'm done.
They're in the right direction. They are a new group. They're heading in
okay.
the right direction
I,
in terms of like sounds, but their music video was awful for
I want to
their
say something about at
Oh.
1-5. So at 1-5, 4 of their members are the ones that actually play the idols and Oshibudo for the
Oh, really?
drama.
I did
Yes.
not
Oh,
know that.
oh, cool.
Hey!
That's cool. I actually did not know that. But yeah, they're terrible. They're just
Any recommendation?
they're they're heading in the right direction. I hope I see some better stuff from them. They're just a new group, never heard of. They were in my YouTube front page. They had like 300 views on their music videos, so I'm always looking at stuff like that.
Hmm.
Takane no Nadeshiko, I'll get to them in a little bit. I think they're my rookie of the year. They feature 3 idols from the recently disbanded Last Idol family. So
Okay.
I really liked them and I like their group. My girlfriend actually showed me Takane no Nadeshiko. As far as K-pop, just the newest debuted groups, Stacy, Ivy's good, Purple Kiss. This soloist, Loco, he's good. He has like some R&B, some rap. It's pretty good. He did a song with Hwasa that I really liked.
Oh, yeah.
It's real, what should I say, lo-fi, the newest track that they came out with. It's really good if you're into that. Other than that, like I said, just the stuff that Steve showed me, I'm a big fan of. Again, you guys should check out if you're into like hard idol rock, Tokyo Syoki Syodo. It's really good. Their I forget which album it was. It's the pink cover with the sweater on it. That one's good. I'm really short on this one. I didn't really listen to too much new stuff.
That's all right. Well, next up, Michael, it's time for your pick. You here?
I think this mic's not working.
Oh, okay. Then while we wait and see, if he clears up his technical difficulties, Colin, you got anything?
Hello?
You didn't make a slide for Oh, there we go.
Oh, there he is.
So, technically, I didn't actually discover them in 2022, but I only properly started listening to them in 2022, and that's the band Ryoku Shoku Shakai. And the reason why I got into them was actually a collaboration performance they did with Hinatazaka's Saito Kyoko during MTV's Live Match concert in 2021. And ever since then, it was just a downward spiral because their music is the type of music I would listen to just casually walking, like on
On your daily
walks.
commute.
Yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, I remember that performance was really good, and plus that was one of their songs, right?
I think so, but I can't remember the title.
No, but yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, Colin, you didn't make a slide for this, but do you have any you just want to give a quick shout out to of like you discovered them this past year and you're like, "Oh, these seem really cool."
So when I saw the category, I was like, I misinterpreted. So I thought it was like one particular person instead of a group. And then I saw the slide and I was like, oh, then I don't have anything because I don't really listen to music at all. I haven't really found anyone, but I'm also not actively searching because I'm more of a movie kind of guy. If I find new music, it's usually from Ryan Reynolds and what's his, Will Ferrell in Spirited. I'm that kind of guy. So I don't have
know
like
what? I
groups.
heard some good stuff about that.
I was surprised that it would be that funny because Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. I like Ryan Reynolds a lot, but like he's always the same character, just different clothing.
Yeah.
But Will Ferrell, I really like him in Elf, but and the Lego Movie. But other than that, I'm like, eh. But then I
Elf.
started to watch the movie, and it has like 3 songs in there, which I really really like. But I didn't think it would be fitting here. But if
Well-
there's one member in AKB that came to my attention, because that was the answer that I had, is a new
that's perfectly fine.
is Mizushima Miu from New Kenkyusei 17 Gen, which debuted May. I want to say May. And she interested me. I was like, she seems interesting. Why? Je ne sais quoi. I don't know. It's just she seemed interesting. That's all I can say. And I'm following her, and I'm like, I'm interested to see if she will become like more famous within AKB, or more popular, I should say. But like that would be the only pick, because I don't really quite have something for this category. I'm the weird one out in this one.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's a new discovery. So
Yeah.
No, that's
Happy
also
member.
true. So I half did it. I half did it.
That's all right, though. That's cool, though. So, next up, we'll move on to Rookie of the Year. So, this is specifically for the newbies who debuted or came to our attention this past year. You know, someone who particularly caught our attention. So, I guess we'll just be going in order again if no one wants to do theirs first.
I don't even have one, so
Oh yeah, I was about to say, Michael, you didn't have one.
no. I'm gonna...
All right then. I guess we'll start with me again then. So my pick for Rookie of the Year, knocking on wood for them, because last time I kind of talked about it with the Idol Downtime crew with Pixie, who I had claimed them as my Rookie of the Year for 2021, and kind of talked about it earlier here, is like the past year 2022 was kind of rough for them, but this group during that time, they really caught my attention, and that's Billy. So they
With 3 L's.
yes, 3L. That's part of the concept, by the way. The fact that there are 3Ls in this, that's
Okay.
part of the concept for them. They have this whole intricate lore storyline that they are building with this group. So, again, kind of my bread and butter here. I tend to be attracted to groups that not only have these like intriguing storylines or lore, but they tend to be on the darker side, like Dreamcatcher, Pixie, even Purple Kiss kind of, but they kind of play on like sometimes it can be dark, but sometimes they have fun with it and they make it like a really quirky, unique kind of concept. This group is really interesting because it's like the vibes that I got from it like early on was like something akin to Stranger Things, but like it's been really interesting to see this particular storyline unfold where basically the members are sort of portraying this group of friends who one of their friends who in universe is called Billy Love, this girl named Billy Love went missing one day, and it's basically the story about them just coming to terms with that and trying to find her. And it gets super weird and trippy in certain areas because it's, like, especially with Ginga Minga Yo, because it's literally called What a Strange World, and it's like they're going through this whole trippy landscape of like where stuff is like twisting and distorting. It's like it's so fun to watch. And that particular music video too, that song itself, because like they have a very experimental and unique type of sound where nothing they really make ever sounds the same. Like they have a very clear concept of what they're going for and they reflect that in their music to the point where like it feels kind of less like they made the group first and then wrote a story around it. It feels more like they had the story in mind first and they decided to write the music around the story that they had made, if that makes any sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it really does feel like these girls are like portraying characters from like a TV show or a novel or something, and they're creating music that's based around it. A lot of the music actually kind of has certain callbacks and stuff referencing to like the lore and the stuff that they do, which I think
was
is
about to
super
ask.
super interesting.
Do you think their music is actually like telling the story as it's unfolding?
Right.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are certain groups who do that too, but not all the time, especially with like some groups, you
It's
know,
hard to
they'll mainly
tell.
do it to focus like with the title tracks, but then the B-sides it'll be something different to show a bit of their range, which like mainly to my knowledge, you know, Purple Kiss and Dreamcatcher do that. Pixie kind of did that with their B-sides where like they do actually have a couple references to some of their lore in their songs. Billy, it just feels like their entire discography is telling the story, which I think that's so cool.
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
So
Does
yeah,
it go into detail about the one member who is wearing a cat mask? Because that's the question that I want to ask.
Oh, yeah. So there is a reason for it. So they have story films as well where it's just like these short films essentially where it just goes into detail about some of the lore building upon the character. So like there is a reason why this one particular member, Shion, is wearing the cat mask and why this particular cat character is important to the story, because there are other kind of these weird creatures that they come across in this world like this, like the cat. So like, yeah, it is so cool. They've had
have to find that out then.
Yeah, they've had 3 mini album releases so far. They've had a couple of like one shot special singles, like Snowy Night was a holiday single that came out at the end of last year in 2021, which is around the time when they debuted, and then they had another like special single came out where that was really cute, actually, kind of a departure from like their typical concept, but it was still really neat to see. So yeah, definitely looking forward to see like what else these girls will do in the future, and especially just to see how the story will expand from this, cuz it's kind of the way it's set up. It's kind of like they're going back and forth between like events that happen in the real world and then events that happen in this like weird, strange, dreamlike world that happened. It is so interesting. Like,
Sounds
I
interesting.
couldn't possibly go into every single detail about it here because there's just so much to unpack and pick apart from this group.
I can imagine.
So yeah, highly recommend. Also, one of the Japanese members of this group, because they have two, but one of them, Tsuki, she went viral this past year because during their performances, she has the most insane expression changes. Like, I think that's mainly because, you know, her training being from Japan, you know. I think she was actually part of a J-pop group before she went to Korea and joined Billy. But yeah, like it's that J Idol experience coming out of like how she can do expressions and emote to the camera. That's like that caused her to go viral among the Korean, you know, K-pop fans, just like seeing her fan cams and being like, "What is this girl? She's emoting like crazy." It
What's
really
with her
like
face?
blew up during that time. All right. Next up we have Steve.
My rookie of the year. So
There's a lot going on in that picture.
So I had to pick a Nagoya
Uh-huh.
group.
Of course.
I'm sorry. I had to for this category.
Of course.
So the group that I picked is Silent Noise. As you can see, just in the Chica world, just in general, just the whack influence of, you know, lowercasing the I's in the names. I see that all the time now.
That was like a Heroines thing, like the production company for that. But
Hope that started with whack.
I gotcha.
But now a bunch of groups do this. So they debuted on April the 17th. Their genre is kind of like electronicore and pop, kind of mixed. Actually, Jerm actually listened to their album with me because he's like, "Show me your music," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll show you this group." So they released one album, 4.17, and one single, Wonder Wonder, and just in my opinion, I think they have a lot of potential when it comes to like making it out of Nagoya, being like one of those groups that will have maybe a big year this year. The funny thing is like, so they actually released like a single before this album, but those songs transferred into the album. And when I found this group, there were 3 songs, if I remember correctly, that were on Spotify. And then all of a sudden, I noticed in my Nagoya group playlist that those songs were just lightened out, which means that they were no longer available for me to stream in the US. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And then literally the next day, they put out their album with those songs and other songs. So, and I could listen to them. So,
Lucky.
lucky. I wish I could go on a mini tangent about Spotify artists, mainly Japanese, but I'm not going to get into that
Yeah.
because
You know story. You know story. That's one thing.
no, it's regarding the names and how you find
Oh,
them.
the names. Okay.
It's not
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
no,
actual-
showed me that
Oh,
deal.
that's
Yeah,
right. I
no.
remember that. You had to search like a billion type of names before you found the one right artist.
Yep. Hold on.
Yeah.
Little puppy guy.
All right.
12.
Is that it, Steve? All right, then let's go on to Jeremy's pick. You mentioned them earlier. Takane no Nadeshiko.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they did debut for Tokyo Idol Festival this last year. I missed the performance when it went live. So I only watched the replays. They were good.
debuted at TIFF.
Yeah. Shh, I'm talking.
He
Their
wants to get in on
first
the conversation.
he does.
Yeah.
Anti-Fan is a real good debut single. That's what they performed for TIFF. 3 members from Last Idol. I don't like all of Last Idol's music. There's some select songs that I'm a fan of, but overall, I hear they had a good, run for what they did. So 3 of the founding members or the first gen of Last Idol premiered with this group. They have potential. They don't, as far as like social media presence, it's not really there. I'm not sure what's going to go on with that. Yeah, like I said, my girlfriend showed me these girls from Spotify. They were on their release radar. I expect good things, just from what I've heard from Last Idol. Again, there's not much to it. I wish I could say more about them, but they're pretty much in the dark. There's not a whole lot of info about them yet.
Maybe that will change.
Hopefully,
Hopefully,
I
yeah.
liked what I
because
heard.
I remember when you like showed me their song Anti-Fan, and that was really good. I really
It's good.
enjoyed it.
It's
So
very good.
I actually watched them during TIFF. So I guess I saw their debut and I didn't realize I saw their debut.
What did you think?
I mean, it's kind of hard for me to remember because when I was watching TIFF, I discovered like over 60 groups.
There was a lot.
Oh,
That's fair.
So
There was a lot.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I
And
watched
to be fair,
all
a
3
lot
days.
a lot of the TIFF performances I watched were not that good. That's just me though. Like I've seen way better from other TIFF performances.
All right then. I guess in that case, next we'll move on to Colin's pick.
So, 17 Gen, like I mentioned, they debuted in May of this year. Oh yeah, it says right there. It's there. Well, I need to think. So it's not that I think that Sato Airi from the 17 Gen is a particularly interesting member. It's not, hasn't really stood out to me. But when you ask me, Rookie of the Year, and then you say that she debuted in May of 2022. And in October, she was already immediately chosen for the next AKB single, like Senbatsu. Like that's pretty insane. Particularly considering that her sister, because she's the younger sister of Sato Kiara, who's been in the group for almost 10 years and has never been into Senbatsu.
Wow.
So it's like,
Wow.
That's a punch in the face.
Yeah. Oh, that hurts.
Uh-huh.
And I, like I said, I have not really. She didn't stand out to me, but it's like I know this story, and it's like okay, for those reasons, I'm like okay, yeah, then you had a pretty good year. That's something that not many within AKB, probably even outside of that, they can't even dream of that. But she's like okay. May, you're new in the month of May. Then October, you're for the Senbatsu, which is not easy to get in. And she also, and that's the other thing that I also mentioned in the thing, that Oguri Yuri, who is like the center of AKB, she has to skip a performance in July, which is 2 months after she debuted, and she's asked to take over for the center for the A's of AKB. Then they have a lot of confidence in that girl. Now, that is enough for me to say like, wow, this is like a very good year for you, particularly if you're new and have like no experience whatsoever.
Yeah, hard to argue with that.
That's pretty incredible. It's congrats to her. I maybe I'll see what she is kind of about. Again, she didn't really stand out to me, not from the 17 Gen anyway. So we'll see. There must be something there, but who knows?
All right.
Wow.
Michael, I guess if you don't have anything, just
not really, to be honest.
all right.
That's...
All right, then I guess we'll move on next to a song of the year pick, which will be very fun, I feel like. So, going on to my first pick my pick for this. Totally not biased at all, by the way.
No, totally not. No.
Totally not. Maybe a little bit. But
little smidge.
Yeah, obviously we'll talk about this more later, but like this was a really amazing year for Dreamcatcher, and especially with this song as well, because this ended up being a milestone release for them, because not only was it their second full album, actually the first with all 7 of them, because Hangdong, their Chinese member, was stuck in China during the time that the Tree of Language album came out. So this time it's with all 7 of them, and that album in particular was really good because they actually all worked on solo songs for the album as well. So like they helped with composing, arranging, writing the lyrics for it, and it's like all varied genres and styles to like really get a feel for what these members are like, which is so good. But the title track for that particular album, Maison, which was the start of the Apocalypse series, and it had a environmental message, talking about like you can see the lyrics written on here, like we have to protect our home, and the music video itself was like a all green music video because they did it all on like green screen for like the sets and stuff like that, which was like really cool that they did that. But the reason why this is a milestone for the group is because this is the song that won them their first music show win, which for any group in K-pop is a huge milestone. And for a group like Dreamcatcher, who have been active as a group for almost 6 years now, their anniversary is coming up, but like it was 5 years as Dreamcatcher when this particular song came out. For some of them, even longer, because they were active as a completely different group before they were known as Dreamcatcher. So like this was just a huge a huge moment in the making for them, and so many, like, pretty much everyone in the fandom was like rooting for them for this moment to happen, and we were so happy when it finally did. You know, the girls were emotional, crying, hugging on stage. It was such a sweet moment to see them, like, you know, earn this moment. So yeah, it was absolutely awesome to see this for this song as well, to have such a good message behind it as well. So yeah, I was just so happy for them when that happened.
They're saying global warming is real, people. It's 50 degrees in January.
Yup, essentially. It is that this particular part too that I wrote the lyrics for were like for the bridge of the song as well, which the bridge has such a good breakdown before it builds up to the final chorus, and it just, oh, it's so good. Highly recommend it.
Photo
Right
on
on.
the slide from the MV.
Yes, that's the
Okay.
ending shot of the MV. I'm pretty
Okay,
sure they used
because
this as a thumbnail, but yeah.
it's cool. Like I even was, you say they
Again,
did it
all
all in
green
green screen.
screen.
Yeah, that surprised me. That doesn't
That's
happen
pretty
often. Where I'm like,
impressive.
really?
Mhm.
That's impressive. Yeah.
Yeah, and then their song that came after this, Vision, it just like it got even better. That one was so cool too. But yeah, Maison, highly recommend. And then, you know, like I mentioned before, you know, we have, you know, hopefully the next release coming out soon. They released a special like secret code, you know, cipher thing that like fans get to kind of decode, try to figure out what it means. We're not sure whether or not it's going to be like an anniversary fan song special thing, or if there are some hints somewhere to like the next release coming out. We'll see, but it's very exciting.
Cool idea.
Mhm. But yeah, moving on. So next up, Germ, actually. This is your pick for Song of the Year.
So as Steve would put it, this is a very trad song.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super traditional.
Oh,
I
traditional. Okay. I was
I
about to
like to
ask what trad meant.
I
Yeah.
like to think of it more as this is the fairy tale idol song. It's basically what every idol group aspires to be.
Mm.
I don't like Momotaro Clover groups that much. But this song in particular was very good. For a trad song. Star by Cho Tokimeki Sendenmu. Oops. The music video is awesome. The outfits beautiful. Again, there's not a lot to say other than, you know, the traditional sound to it. The chorus is what actually is a real tearjerker for me. Uh it basically, not to reiterate myself, but it's what every traditional idol aspires to be, is a star. So
Hmm.
I like it. Uh I reckon if you guys are into like just the general sounds of like traditional idol music, you will like it. Even if you don't care for Momotaro Clover groups, I really did like the song a lot.
Okay. All right then. Next up, Steve.
Okay. Yeah, so this was immensely hard to pick a song of the year because of the amount of groups I discovered and the amount of songs that I've listened to this year in general. Um, so if it wasn't for like songs that came out this year, I would have picked those Love Bites songs that I mentioned earlier, being my personal songs of the year. But for a song that released this year, um, it's a group that I discovered from TIFF called Nini Konomama de Indayo. Oh boy, I enjoy this song so much. So it starts off with like a great acoustic guitar, and then it transitions from the acoustic guitar into this fantastic rock song. I had Ruka listened to it before we recorded last session,
Yeah.
and Ruka said that she really liked it.
Mm.
The lyrics are really meaningful, and the song in general just has a great melody and progression throughout the whole entire song. If you would agree with that, Ruka.
No, yeah. I liked it. Yeah, it was really good. Plus reading the lyrics alongside to like kind of get the meaning of the song is like, yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Nini on their official website actually just has like their own tab for just lyrics, because I've never seen that with any other idol group
Smart.
website,
Mm-hmm.
and
Good.
that's smart. So Nini's actually under Zero Ichi Familia, if you've heard of that company before. If
No.
not, okay, so they're just an all-encompassing like entertainment company,
Oh, okay.
uh,
that would make sense.
essentially. But if I'll just name like a couple other songs that were up in contention for my song of the year because it was so hard to pick. Another song was ASP's "I Want to Live" from their Placebo album, which we'll get to later. Cyclonista, which they're a Nagoya group. Probably would be Ashitaga Kwakuten Nanagawari, that single from them. And hold on, let me scroll down. We have a big list here. Neo Japonism's Susume, which I discovered them from TIFF. That group from TIFF. And I think I have two more. Shingeki, they released two songs, but the one song that really stood out to me was their song World Breaker, which is their newest single. And then going back to my Rookie of the Year, Silent Noise, their song Bad Carnival, because that song just has an amazing just breakdown in the middle of that song, like an electronic breakdown, EDM. I was blown away when I heard that breakdown. So that's it for my song of the year.
All right then. Michael, you're up next.
So I'm gonna admit this isn't my favorite song from Sakurazaka's first album. Just gonna say that now, but I do like all 5 of the new songs. But considering the choreography and just the overall vibe of the song, my song of the year is actually Joken Hansha de Nakatekuru. Like a runner-up would be the lead song to the album, Masatsukesu. But
Masatsukesu is good.
The fact that Takahiro Sensei actually put several references to old Keiyakuzaku choreography in this song as well. Just it blew my mind when I saw it at Tokyo Dome, because it was the first song performed at Tokyo Dome, and just Yamasaki Ten's overall stage presence is something else entirely, and I think while this song doesn't do it enough justice, I think she's out there enough that you know she's the center of the song, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, I just like the instrumentals as well. It's something not really Sakurazaka. But then again, it's the same with all the new songs in this album. It's like not really what you'd hear typically from this group. But at the same time, they make it work. They make it work. So, yeah.
All right then. It's okay. Colin.
I wouldn't say I'm a huge anime watcher. I'm a lifelong Pokemon fan, so that's something. And I love My Hero Academia. And Overlord is one of those animes where I'm like, I think the character looks cool, the voice cast is familiar. Isekai is something I do like fantasy related, so I watch the show, and I always make sure to remember when the new season comes out. And I'm one of those awful people that doesn't always listen to the intro. If you hate me for that, I'm sorry. But I will always check out, when I'm watching something,
That
to
is a
see
red
what.
flag for me.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Don't watch the opening.
I mean,
Red flag.
for instance, with Overlord, it comes out like at round what did it? At 5 p.m. my time, and I'm waiting when I'm not like sitting on a chair and like waiting for only that thing to come out that day, but I'm waiting for it and I want to watch it immediately. So that's an excuse that I have. But I always check out the first song, and I heard this, and I was like, "There's no other song in 2022." Related to Japanese artists that could top this for me, because even AKB hasn't done anything in the past 3 years that I would rate over this song, Hollow Hunger, by OXT. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I'll
It
check it out.
is so awesome. It's a total banger. If you would explain the song to me, I would be like, I'm not sure if I like this. And I was watching this, and it's like, it goes hard.
Really?
And I'm not
Yeah.
really prone to saying something like that, but
I actually,
man,
because I don't really follow the Overlord anime myself, but I do think that
Fine.
their opening songs especially are really good. So I picked this out because I was curious and like, yeah, this goes hard.
Okay, someone can back me up. Good. It's just I again. That's why I would watch this intro every time, because wow, it's just so awesome. And I'm like, there's nothing AKB can do that can top this. And this was just the
That's
perfect
like
song to
a very high bar you set.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's
Hollow Hunger, you
it does,
say.
because it's just really awesome, and I'm like,
Huh.
wow, I didn't know that I would like this, but I put it on my playlist. It's not even like an indicative of what I like, but I like it. It's just so awesome. I'm
There's
like,
no music
yeah.
video? Damn. There's no music video for it. That's depressing.
Yeah, no, it's only like someone puts
Like
it
a digital
on, and it's
single.
like, yeah, it's really weird. I couldn't really find like anything of the group in particular, so it's just an intro for an anime. That's it. It's
I
unfortunate,
gotcha.
but I would have watched that too. But it's just, I think it's on YouTube, and then it's just some person who has uploaded it with the text and
Yeah.
just a picture of the characters. So that's the best thing you gotta do sometimes. But it's really cool. Like, wow, it's awesome. I love it.
Well, all right then. Next category we'll move on to is album of the year. So not just one song, a whole album now. So first up, I mean, so I said earlier that there was a particular album from Ado that got me interested in her music.
Yes.
This was it.
Yes.
This was it. This was the song that this was the album that did it for me because so here's the thing. I don't watch One Piece. It's
I don't either.
it's a
I don't.
huge series. It's a
I don't
long
either, to be
series.
honest.
It's
It's
kind of
long.
Yeah.
hard to follow catch up on it when it's been going
Oh,
on
yeah.
for so long.
I stopped watching after Dressrosa, so that's
I've
as far
seen
as I got.
bits and pieces of it. I know bits and parts of some of it, but I can't follow any of it. This album got me interested in this character alone. And I barely know anything about this character. I don't know how prominent she is outside of this one movie that she featured in for film Red. Like, I mean, I
Okay.
assume she's a movie exclusive character, but if she appears somewhere in
Makes
like
sense.
a mini manga arc or
I'm
something,
fairly certain they made that specific character for her for the film, but I'm not entirely sure.
okay, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them because this really does feel like a character that, like, again, they had the story and then they built this character and the music, especially around it, which the music in this album is, again, phenomenal. And, like, in terms of, like, how the album progresses with, like, each song, again, kind of telling a story. We're seeing trends come in of, like, my previous picks, the album is telling a story that's pertaining to this particular character.
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly put this album on par with the Caligula Effect soundtracks. Because I talked about this before. The Caligula Effect, the soundtracks on there, the soundtracks are good. Why they're so good and, like, why I like them so much is that, like, each song off of the album for, like, for pertaining to each game, the soundtracks have different composers, different Vocaloid like composers actually working on them. So it's like one song will be tied to a particular character and it sort of reflects, like, what their personality is like, or what sort of issues they're going for, why they're here, why they're doing the things they're doing. It relates specifically to them. This film had to do it with an entire character, one single character, to have, like, her entire character development in a single album for, like, 7 songs, and it's like that immediately sold me on it, even though I barely watch anything of the series that she comes from, and she's a movie exclusive character. I unfortunately, I didn't get to see the movie myself when they were showing it here in the US. My friend got to see it though, and he said he really enjoyed it. And so,
Okay.
that's something I'm hoping, I definitely want to find time to check out the movie, even though I know next to nothing about One Piece. I still want to see this movie for this character alone. And
Good reason.
even now, I talked about her earlier, Amanda Lee, Amelie, who, funnily enough, she was the English voice for this character, Uta, in the One Piece film Red. They didn't dub the songs over, so, like, they kept the Japanese audio for her singing, even though she's, like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
professional singer. She started releasing English covers on her YouTube channel.
Nice.
She's done, let's see, New Generation, I'm Invincible. She just recently put out Fleeting Lullaby, Taunt Musica, which is insane, and Backlight. So she's done 5 out of the main 7 so far, so 2 more to go. And then we'll basically have the Amelie version of the One Piece film Red soundtrack, which
She's a
I am
good
looking
singer.
forward to. Especially because the lyrics for this, they adapted them so well. So I'm sorry, what were you saying? Was that Jeremy? What were you saying?
She's a good singer. I like her cover of My Dearest, the Guilty Crown opening
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
by Supercell. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, again, just very much enjoyed this, and this was not only what got me into auto singing, but it also got me kind of interested in One Piece, which I think is a feat in itself.
Yeah.
So
honestly.
yeah. All right, next up we have Steve. I believe this is yours.
Yep, this is why did I not put my name in this?
I mean, you
That's
had to
my
create
fault.
some space to, specify, like, this is your non-idol choice, this is your idol choice.
Yeah,
That's the
but
important part.
yes, but these are my selections for album of the year. So for my non-idol, I have Nemophila's Seize the Fate. So this album consists of 4 of their recently released singles that those songs released this year, so that still counts. And then 7 new tracks. Those 4 singles, just in general, like those songs are fantastic, and I love those songs. And then we get like a couple unique songs, which one that caught me off guard. I believe it was the song Zen. It had a very traditional Japanese sound with the instruments, which I was kind of shocked that they went that route, because I believe that during the end of the song it was either like an electric shamisen or electric koto. I'm not sure what it was. One of those 2 instruments that were incorporated in that song, and I was like, oh. but this group just in general, like everything that they release is just good. There's not a single bad song that this group has released. And then going onto Idol, it's like I stated before, this would come back. ASP's Placebo. Each song is just a banger. Songs that I like because people that know Whack, they're like this group in Whack. Their sound is more related to Rage Against the Machine kind of sound because that's kind of the sound that I believe
That's
Watanabe.
cool.
Like imagine them with also. Oh, I forget the sound producer's name. Oh, but he's also famous. Oh my god. But because I remember watching when Yukiden was with ASP, like
Mm.
did like all the WAG groups.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember
How
that.
how in the recording booth for the ASP song that they did, he was like explaining how ASP has more of a Rage Against the Machines kind of sound vibe. And the one song that stood out to me because it's a lot more slower than the other songs was I Want to Live, and it has just a fantastic message to it as well. That's really all that I have to say.
Listen to it. Go watch it.
Yeah,
Pause the video.
Let's go listen to it.
just listen to it.
All
give it a shot.
right. Next up, Michael, this is your pick.
So I've mentioned it in my song of the year, but for an album with only 5 new songs, I think, as you know, kind of it was experimental in a way that like all 5 of the new songs weren't really things that the girls have done before, but it was well done.
Hmm.
Yeah, and more units, like more like small units is a plus as well. Yeah, my favorite song from the album is one of the smaller units because my Oshi's in it. Her duet with
Always a good
Fujiyoshi
reason.
Karin. Yeah, it's Morita Hikaru and Fujiyoshi Karin's duet One Way Stairs. When I saw it at Tokyo Dome, I was like, how do these girls have the energy to sing a duet together with choreography? And the set had a lot of stairs that they had to run up, so so makes sense for the song title. But yeah, I a lot of fans initially were complaining that there weren't enough new songs. But I think yes, they could have, but would they have been done well?
Yeah.
Is
Don't
the
rush
thing.
it.
Hmm.
And that's kind of what I like. But as you know, it's not focusing on new songs per se. It's going back through their discography thus far with
Hmm.
added songs. And yeah.
Very cool.
And I like the covers.
Yeah,
the
no,
covers.
those are
also
good.
important.
The covers are very pretty.
Yeah. Love the blue.
Yep.
I love blue, so everything blue is always awesome.
Yeah, I'm done speeding.
All right.
Speeding.
Jeremy, Colin, you didn't make any slides for this, but are
Yeah,
there any picks you can think
this
of?
ones I didn't really get to. I just kind of went through my Spotify to see like what like albums I've listened to the most. Kind of like I based on like mid to end 2020, and it would have to be Higher and Higher by Da Pump. You ever heard of Da Pump?
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. Uh,
I heard that, Michael.
fantastic. You
Of course
You
you
like
did.
the pump? They're good. I was looking at look for this. I have the CD too. I don't know where it, but
Oh, cool.
it's I don't know if you can see. Nah,
Uh-huh.
it's Issa, the main guy. He's been in the group for like since the beginning,
Mhm.
and he's 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 a big fan of Kamen Rider, which I am a big fan,
Ooh.
and he plays as a villain in Kamen Rider ZO, so which is cool.
Ah, okay, that's cool actually.
So he's
Alright.
great.
All right,
That's it.
cool.
Joyful on the album, best song.
Okay,
Makes you feel
okay.
good.
As the title would, I would presume. Colin, you got anything?
I'm not an album kind of guy. So I could. This was the one where I'm like, I have nothing. I like
Okay.
individual songs, but albums, that's not really my thing. Why? I don't know. Maybe because usually there's an MV with it, so maybe that's why. I know that's a half answer. It's
You
not
can just
really.
imagine an MV in your head.
Yeah. Okay, touche.
I do that
That's
all
true.
the time.
Okay, that's true. Maybe because I do like an MV. I'm more of a visual kind of guy, so I'm like, I
That's
want to
fair, that's
see that
fair.
too.
There we go.
I got nothing, but I compensate for the rest of the slide.
That's all right. That's all right. You
Still got
know,
some others.
people, their brains work differently. I'm a very creatively intuitive person. I can come up with a bunch of different images and scenarios and stuff in my head, and some people it might be harder to visualize stuff like that.
People are different. Always
Mhm.
good. World is boring if everyone is the same.
That is true. That is true. All right. Next up, performances of the year. So this will be us talking about our favorite performances from the past year. So, first up with me, again, totally not biased or anything.
No.
No.
Well, I could
Nah.
have seen it coming.
But
actually.
you know, I gotta say this. The Queendom 2 performances, they were all phenomenal. Like all the groups, all the artists who perform on there were some incredible performances on this. So like I was going back and forth with trying to pick like what was my favorite one from here. I ultimately went with this one because again, something that I had mentioned earlier when talking about Luna is like this was basically a make or break performance for them because since they all got sick and they were exempt from points from round 1, if they due to the rules of the competition, if they had ended up in last place for round 2, they would have been kicked off the show.
Makes sense.
So this was essentially they had to make or break this performance in order to stay on the show. And this ended up booting them up to second place in the rankings. They ended up
That's pretty good.
ranking second place of this under Hyolyn, who covered their song, and that was an amazing performance. But this, they covered Sistar's song "Shake It," and this is essentially like a mini musical performance here. Which, as a former theater kid myself, I loved it so much. Their mix of the song was amazing. The costumes and the stage setup feeling like a little mini musical stage was just like I was in love with it the whole time. I watched all of the fan cams after the performance came out just to see like all the members' little expressions, little stuff that they were doing throughout the performances to like play these
Yeah.
characters that they were doing, and it was just like I loved it so much. So yeah, I really enjoy it. And even like after the song came out, you know, I had bought it off of iTunes and started playing it all the time just because again, I loved it. I was actually playing it once when I was with like two of my friends. We were like, you know, out hanging out. We went and saw a movie and we're like hanging out and stuff like that. I started playing this like when it was hooked up to my friend's car, and they were grooving along to it. They were like, "Hey, this is good." So, like,
yeah.
if a non-fan can enjoy this, you know you're doing something right.
Right.
So yeah, again, and I put here honorable mention, you know, their butterfly performance because that was specifically made like for that particular theme of the round was like basically fan dedicated performances, and Butterfly is like arguably their most popular song as a group. And the performance of that was so beautiful. So it was mainly with those two. I was like going back and forth between like which one did I like more, which like obviously that's hard to do when it's like they're all so good. But yeah, ultimately went with this one for Shake It because it was just so enjoyable to watch. So yeah. Next up, Steve. But
Ooh,
yeah, I'm sure you have a lot to say about
whoa,
this.
of course I do. No, that's mayonnaise mixed with other things. So I'm pretty sure that's wet
Oh.
dog food as well mixed in there.
Uh,
So there were two performances of the year that I had to decide between. It was either Hanako-san's or Bandmaid's because I went and saw Bandmaid in October when they went to Philly, and even that concert, like I got drunk off the atmosphere. Like I didn't drink during the concert. I drank afterwards before going to the airport, but which was a dumb decision. Um, but without a doubt, Hanako-san's performance in LA just was fantastic. From start to finish, and even like I wish I could just talk about like my whole experience in LA, but maybe I can do that in the next section. Cough, cough, cough. Foreshadowing. But just the playlist that Hanako-san did. So I could even just do like the whole entire concert in general. So the concert started with a 3 female group called Kuromi. They were like very punk grunge, and they brought a lot of fans with them to the venue. Like the venue ended up being around like 100 people because of the amount of fans, which is fantastic, especially like because Hanako-san probably everybody together was maybe around 20 to 25 people that maybe came for Hanako-san, which is great because this is an overseas live. And then Paprika Marie, which was the second performer, she would help translate during the Czechis. And actually, I'm so happy that I got to meet her again because I first met her during Eats Meets West, and then I also brought her to Anna Marathon here 4 years ago, I believe. So it was really great to see her again. But Hanako-san takes the cake. She brought everybody into hell with her performance. So the Kuromi fans during their set, every single song, those fans were just moshing every single song. So so it got really rowdy with them, and it was surprising because they had a lot of female fans they brought, and so you're just having these girls just throwing their bodies at other people, and it got really rowdy. So during Hanako-san's performance, because I kind of went up to like the second row, not really participating in the moshing, but during her performance, these other fans are just moshing to her song, just out going crazy. And then for her last song that she does, she goes off the stage, gets onto a chair. She has one of the fans no, she has 2 fans holding on to the objects that she's about to unleash and make everybody in the venue dirty as hell. And I believe she started off with the wet dog food. I believe that's what it was. At first, I thought it was like spaghetti or like cold ramen, but apparently, I think that was the wet dog food. So people are getting hit with this. I got hit with it. Just going on, throwing toilet paper all around, and then she just grabs this bottle of mayonnaise, which is I'm pretty sure had mixed with like other ingredients mixed in. And like I'm just like because I already knew what I was planning on doing, even though I had to go to the airport literally like a couple hours later. Literally had no time. I had to go from that venue to the airport. I had a makeshift shower afterwards, which I'm happy. But so she looks at me and then she just covers me all over my hair, all over my face, all over my body in this stuff. And right when the performance ended, after she got off her chair, she looks at me. She just starts laughing. She's like, Steve, just starts cracking up because of how like much how dirty I was. And that picture that I have there, that's after I cleaned up a little bit. So that isn't the full extent of how dirty
But
I
still
got.
pretty messy.
Oh, that's more messy than the time at Eats Meets West 4 years ago. A lot messier.
You had toilet
eh,
paper that she threw at you, so you had something to clean yourself with. So
yes. So the day before, I guess the day before there was like a fan meetup with Derek and a couple of us others that just wanted to meet up the day before, and I got to meet again the two guys from Homicidals that have like a blog post, um Damon and Monster Panda. And I was talking, I'm like, yeah, I plan on getting like annihilated by Hanako-san, but like I have to go to the airport and whatever afterwards. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll bring a gallon of water and a towel for you to clean up. So I essentially took the shampoo and body wash from my hotel when I left in
Oh,
preparation for this makeshift
you're
shower.
smart.
smart,
So
yeah.
because and I bought 2 of the VIP shirts because I knew that I was going to get the one horrendously dirty. So I had a change of clothes the whole entire time, which the only thing that was kind of hard to clean was my shoes because the wet dog food got like into the soles of my
Yeah.
shoes, like in the
Oh,
drags,
I can
Oh,
imagine.
and
oh.
so I was able to get washed up.
Did you get the what? Did you keep the one shirt dirty so you have like a trophy or like
Oh,
something to?
I didn't keep it there. No, because
Oh.
there
Oh.
you cannot the smell is just awful. Like I smelled horrible. So I'm lucky that because of my makeshift shower, like my whole entire body didn't smell, but my shoes
Right.
still had the lingering smell, and I was so nervous because I had to go to the airport and be on a plane, 2 planes to get back home, and I'm like, the whole entire time I'm like, oh my god, I feel so sorry for the people that have
Yeah.
to sit
And plus,
next to me.
didn't you say earlier that you drank a little bit before you went to the airport? So on top of
No,
all
that was for the bandmade
Oh,
concert.
Oh.
okay.
I drank the night before with the fan meet.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So yeah, there were some pictures that I got from the live from people on Facebook, Jason Smith and Chris Christopher. Those are not my pictures, so I'm giving them credit for those pictures
Mm.
that they took. But yeah, I got to meet up with the other Hanako-san fans. There was one person from Japan that came. He was the only person from Japan that came, which I can't even imagine how much money this guy spent because the plane ticket, the round trip plane ticket, and then he bought the
That is
VIP
dedication.
tickets, which was $250,
Oh,
That is
and then the amount of
dedication.
checkies and merchandise that he spent as well.
Jesus.
So I'm imagining like this dude spent well over 3,000 US dollars.
yeah.
That is my
Well,
imagining of this
Especially
guy.
like the yen is so much weaker right now than the United States dollar. Like he paid like an inflated price for sure.
Well, for the checkies and stuff, he had the currency exchange at the airport, so he had
Okay.
dollars
Still,
for
like he
everything
got
there.
significantly like less for his money.
So it was nice to speak Japanese because this is probably the most Japanese I've ever spoken since
And
coming back.
Mm.
Because during the Checky session, which I'll get to later in the next part, and it was really funny because the Japanese guy was the first person I met at the fan event because we were the first 2 there. So I was speaking Japanese to him. So he was probably the one that I talked to the most, honestly. So just in Japanese. And then before the show started, Derek came up to me. He's like, "Steve, I have a big favor for you to ask of you. Can you talk to this Japanese guy because you're like the only one that knows Japanese?" And because this guy was like really shy. which is understandable because he's in a different country where people
Right.
don't
course.
speak Japanese. So he's like, so that was my job during the whole entire performance is to talk to this guy. Overall, amazing, fantastic. My performance of the year. Sorry, that took too long.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
The
You know,
longer the better.
we didn't get to do a discussion video before this for you to talk about this, so you know. All right. So then next up, Colin.
Pick something maybe a little bit different. So in 2021, AKB announced a team shuffle, and many people wanted that. Me, not so much, because I very much grew attached to Saho Team B. So when they had their 2 final performances, which they split because COVID and they can't have all members. So
Fair.
2 for the price of 1. You know, I'm not complaining about that. So everyone could perform across 2 days. And not only is it my favorite team in all of AKB, it's also my favorite set list, Theater no Megami, because I love a lot of the songs in there. And seeing these girls that a lot of them are like in my top, you know, in my senbatsu, in my imaginary senbatsu of like favorite members. Seeing that it's just bonus upon bonus, very positive for me. And like seeing this final one was very, I wouldn't say quite emotional. Wasn't like I was crying. I shed a tear too. I will admit that. But I was just very sad that they did the shuffle because the teams were split very evenly, and I don't feel particular attachment to any AKB team anymore. And the new theater performances, let me put it this way: I watched every Team B Theater no Megami performance because that's how much I liked it. So to see that final one, that was just a little sad, but I still had a very good time watching it. So it's very mixed, but still
that
very
makes
good.
sense. Well, all
That's
right
it.
then. Jeremy, Michael, you didn't make any slides for this, so is there any performance that you guys like from this year?
I mean, I think we did a video on this before this, but I'd say Sakurazaka's Tokyo Dome concert, like both days.
Yeah, that's right.
Like-
We did have a discussion on this. Yeah, those
Like,
performances were really good.
because it was Sugayuka's first and last Tokyo Dome concert as a Sakurazaka member, and the fact that they kind of threw back, like, did a throwback to Keki songs, because
Right.
like 7 years through technically 2 groups, and
That's
she did a
lot.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did a lot for the group, and I think this was, as I said in that video, it was a really great way to send her off.
Yeah.
And I think I shed a tear or two in the last song, which was her graduation song, Sonohimare,
Mm.
because obviously it was the second all-member song, and to see her in that graduation dress and the members sending her off like that, I don't know, tearjerker, honestly.
Yeah.
Makes
And
sense.
this is coming from a Sugayuka Oshi, former Sugayuka Oshi, of course. But
Did they not use the Keyaki Overture for that one?
they did, yes.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, where'd that go?
All right. Jeremy, you got anything? You just want to do a quick shout
No,
out?
not really.
Nah?
Just
Okay.
nah.
All
Playing
right
stars.
then. Then we'll
Playing
move
stars,
on
yeah.
to
Playing stars.
the last topic for our Idol Awards discussion, and that is, of course, the Idol of the Year. So
The big one.
we'll go with my pick first. Again, totally not biased or anything.
I saw this coming. I saw this
It's
totally
not
coming.
like I saw them live or anything.
Right.
That is silly. Nah.
Okay, but in all seriousness, like I said, this was such a big year for Dreamcatcher. So again, second full album, and it got them their first music show win. They got 2 wins actually for Maison on 2 different shows. But yeah, after that album came out, it was just like boom, 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 hit after hit. They were doing so much this year. They went to Primavera Sound, which is in Spain, and they were the first K-pop act to ever perform at that event, and it was huge there. Like they even did like a special rebroadcast of it, several of them actually. One of them was a video rebroadcast, one of them was an audio rebroadcast. So it's like this was a big huge deal for a lot of people. They went to a K-pop music festival in Europe and had some really good performances there. One of them that I particularly really liked was their cover of Kill This Love by Blackpink, because they did a full rock arrangement towards it. Dreamcatcher are no stranger to that, to just taking a song and making it their own, changing up the arrangement a little bit, adding that bit of rock sound that they are known for, and making it even better than it already is. And then of course there was their US tour and European tour that they did for their Apocalypse albums that came out this past year, which this is the first tour that they did since COVID happened, because up till now they were doing, the virtual concerts to, interact with fans and stuff like that, but now they have the world tour that they did this past year, which was awesome, and I got to be part of that, which was even more amazing for me as someone who has been following their music for 5 years now and has enjoyed them exponentially so much. They had their concert in Korea too, which was at the end of October, so like during Halloween time. So obviously there was a bit of a complication stuff that happened. If you guys have heard about the Itaewon incident that happened in Korea.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of you guys are familiar. Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that happened. That was sad, but they had actually discussed it with their staff, and they said they wanted to continue doing the performance because they wanted to be, a place of comfort for their fans. They wanted to support them during these hard times, which is really, really, really sweet. So love them for that, honestly. And yeah, if you'll look on this slide, this is actually, so I do have the concert vlog that you guys can see. I split it up into a couple parts because of formatting. Some ways that I was filming it, had to be split up into separate videos. But yeah, getting to see them live, I've talked about it before, was just such a great experience. And plus, actually, after I got to see them live, and especially after their October concert in Korea as well, it made me change my mind on one particular song that they had, where like before, so they have a song on their Rate of Dream album, which was the special album that they had. Deja Vu was the title track of it, so it's like one of their most popular like title tracks. But on that album there's a B-side called Silent Night. And for a while I wasn't the biggest fan of this. I listened to it on its own and it's like it's fine, but they didn't have a lot of chances up until this point to perform it live, because again, around this time, COVID started happening. And yeah, so there was one time during I think it was during the Dystopia online concert that they did, but they weren't really like, dancing or doing any choreography for it. It was just them singing to it, which is like, it's nice, and the arrangement to it as well, because they had the live band backing them, was nice, but it's like, okay, but maybe still not my favorite. During this tour, however, getting to see them live in Louisville myself, and then seeing them perform it live during their concert in Korea, it made me realize, like, this song is just meant to be performed live, because like this isn't like a casual listen to, like, driving in your car, and you're just listening to it casually on your own or doing stuff like that. No, this is a rave song. This is you gotta be up and jumping, blood pumping, dancing, shouting, screaming, cheering. This is a full-blown rave song, especially the final breakdown at the end, where this iconic moment that happened during the Korean concert when they were performing the song and they had the breakdown. After the breakdown ended, the members were like, "Ayo, hold on. I think we can do better than this. Let's go one more time." And they started doing the breakdown again, and they were just jumping and dancing, and Gia was headbanging on the floor. It was hilarious and so fun to watch.
Awesome.
You gotta love it.
Yes, absolutely love it, especially from Jiu being the leader of the group. Basically, after being able to see her live and just seeing like that amount of joy and love that was exuding from her from being able to just like perform and interact with fans live, she pretty much just became my second bias in the group now. So yeah. So yeah, all in all, just again, love these girls and so looking forward to what they're going to do next and for years to come as well. Because they renewed their contracts too. That's another big thing. Oh my god, I almost forgot about that. They renewed their contracts with their company, with Dreamcatcher Company. So that means they're gonna be active for a long time now. So yes, I'm so happy about that.
Well,
As
awesome
you
news.
should be.
Yeah, that's usually a thing a lot of K-pop groups have to do, like, after 7 years of being active or so, most of them will have to renew their contracts as long as they can stay successful, you know?
Mm.
So, like, that's always kind of an antsy period, you know, for some groups like that, because you never know if, like, you know, if one group, you know, one of the members decides to leave a group, or maybe the group thinks about, you know, disbanding and stuff like that. But luckily, all the members renewed their contracts with Dreamcatcher Company, the company that they're under. Yes, it's named after them, and yes, they are amazing. Way better than BBC ever could. There, I said it.
Oh, snap.
But yes, I am extremely happy for that. And again, so looking forward to what their next release will be. So, yeah, that's it for me.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's good.
I just wanted to bring that out again. Like I said, I just like this bouquet that I have.
Good excuse.
They
Yeah.
actually
Why not?
have a song called Rose Blue though, so I guess it kind of fits. It was
There you
made for
go.
a game, but yeah. All right, Steve, move on to you.
Okay.
I'm done rambling now. I'm
So
good.
Oh, we
going
need
on
to watch
my
the
idol of
rest
the
of
year.
the series, Steve.
Yes. Yes, we do. We have to watch the rest of Derek's documentary. But honestly, this award category was honestly the hardest for me to decide, even more than Song of the Year, because once again, I listened to so many idol groups, over like 100 with Nagoya alone. So it was so hard for me to pick an idol of the year for what they've done, but it came down to two solo idols. And I will have to give like an honorable mention to Himari Tsukishiro, Necronominals, or now what she is known as is Isliel or something, however you pronounce her solo career name. But I'm still gonna call her Himari because that's just who she is to me. So with Himari, she's essentially she got a solo career with songs outside of Necronominal, but she's just been going to overseas conventions this whole entire year, from Europe conventions to North America conventions. Like, there's not a time where I was thinking like, when is she back in Japan? Because I swear every single time I saw something from her, she's always talking about being at a convention somewhere outside of Japan. But I ultimately had to choose Hanako-san for the year that she has had. She got a new album. It's been, I think, 2 years, if I remember correctly, or maybe like a year and a half since her last album. Once again, I kind of sort of copied the slide of the first Hanako-san slide, but changed it a bit. Once again, she released an 11-track album, Sekai Toire no Hi, which she collaborated with Derek and Takeo P. So that's amazing. And then just with Derek's Idol Underworld site, while we were in LA, Derek was like, "Yeah, it's Hana and Hanako-san that are his top 2 sellers on his site," seeing how they like always sell out. She was finally able to go abroad for the second time ever in 4 years, coming back to America. That's a feat in itself, and something that I did not talk about during the live performance, because this is something that she shared with her fans on Instagram, on her Insta stories after the live. But during the whole entire time she was in LA, she was having like major health problems where but she was like fighting through it. Like I couldn't tell the difference, but it wasn't until afterwards um where she was just giving us all this information about like she like gave her like specific health condition. I don't remember what it was, but I believe this health condition is more prevalent in females than males, if I remember correctly, based on like the symptoms that she said that the health condition has. But she fought through that, and plus she gave props to Paprika Marie the whole entire time helping her. She said if it wasn't for Marie, she would not have been able to do the live or do anything just at all there. But just the fact that like she gave out like information that I never would have thought and like she would give out. It was just amazing. And then now I'm going to go towards the Chuckies section, which also kind of connects to the collaboration with BSJ because the whole entire time we were just talking about BSJ project essentially during the Checky sessions. The first Checky that I got though, like I was so nervous and shy, like because like I was nervous with my Japanese because I was one. I think I mentioned before in the previous session that we recorded. Maybe not that I was one of 3 people that didn't need a translator out of like the 17 people that went to the VIP event. Obviously, the person from Japan, fluent Japanese, does need a translator. And then Monster Panda from Homicidals, he's Japanese, so even though he lives in the US, so he speaks fluent Japanese. So I'm pretty sure I was the only one that outside of them that didn't need a translator. But because I was so nervous speaking Japanese the first time, I was so shy. And she was like, "Steve, I think you're more shy now than you were 4 years ago." When we talked, because I got to interview her 4 years ago and everything like that. She
The
said
shake
I was
leg.
so like I was nervous as hell. But then after that, we were just talking about BSJ project and everything with them, how grateful I am to them, how she loves the members and everything, and how she loves Arisa and Kasumi and all the rest of the group, and Takuya P. And then the funny thing is that she, when I was mentioning them, she asked me like who my favorite member of BSJ Project was. I'm like, well, she kind of already graduated in 2020, so you wouldn't know her at all because she just came to BSJ Theater like in 2021, then of 2021 to this year. But like I mentioned, like Yohashi Anna, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know her." I'm like, "Why? why? Well, why do you know my Kamiyoshi?" But so apparently, Arisa and them showed like a former video on their YouTube channel where that Anna was in. So that's how Hanako-san knows who my Kamiyoshi was. And then she also mentioned if I remembered Marina, so she was a part of BSJ Project, and then she went solo this year outside. saying I'm having a fun time with them. And then during our final Checky session, I asked her to curse me again because she cursed me back 4 years ago in Eats Meets West. So like I'm cursed for eternity. So I wanted to ask her if she could curse me again. She's like, no, I don't need to curse you again. You're already cursed. There's no point. So
Casual. Casually.
so yeah, I'm cursed for eternity.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, I just have to give it up to Hanako-san for having such an amazing year
All
in
right.
general.
Awesome. Jermy, you're up next.
If I might
Yeah.
interject for a second,
Oh,
Sure.
yeah, what's up?
I have 10 minutes left. If that, I'm not sure if that's an issue in particular, but dinner's almost ready.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll
okay,
try
okay.
and make mine quick.
I'm not sure if it's not possible, then
Oh, you're good.
that's fine, of course. But I wanted to say it regardless.
Okay. Then let's wrap this up.
So, Hinata Sasaka 46, not me being biased or anything. I just really
No.
like them. Kyoko being the center of the last single. It's great.
Mhm.
I thought their TIFF performance was actually pretty mediocre.
Yeah, I thought that too. It
Oh,
was
well.
awful.
Hope to see some footage for the next Kayaki Fest, actually. I can only find 2021. There's no 2022 anywhere. Can't find it. So I'm hoping it gets better. So that's all
Yeah.
for me.
It's weird.
All
It's
right.
from Tokyo Idol Festival. That's weird. That you don't
Yeah,
have
it was
2022.
abysmal.
Yeah.
Okay,
was
well,
awful.
there you go. That's the reason.
All right, Michael, your turn.
So I've got two specific idols, Sakamichi idols, kind of going from Germ's idols of the year. One of them is Hinatazaka's Kageyama Yuka, totally not biased at all. And Sakurazaka's Moriarana. I've mentioned her too many times to count at this point. So with Kage, she's just been everywhere. Like, yeah, she's been everywhere. Like quiz shows, variety shows. She was even ambassador for the 2022 World Cup since around May, I think. So I think just that range kind of makes a very versatile idol. And ever since she came back in 2020, I think her trajectory has only gone up, to be honest.
Nice.
And that's the same with Rena, really. She debuted around the time Kage came back. So, yeah. Also had a fair number of TV and radio appearances. Even a regular one on the morning show, Love It. And then her photo book, as I mentioned. And then now she's going to act as center for the group's fifth single. And I think both of these guys, I think 2023 will be a good year for them, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. All right, Colin.
You get to finish things off.
Actually, not too different from what Michael just gave for the reasons, but I picked Ogura Yuri. Oh no, sorry, no. Oh, that's dumb. Oh, it's dumb. Oh my god, I made a stupid mistake. Why? It's because I'm like,
Wow.
oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
dumb. I'm done. Oh my
okay,
god,
it's okay.
I
It's
fail.
okay. You know, slip of the tongue. Okay.
Oh my god, I'm like, so I have all these things in my head, and I'm like, oh, I'm just making a silly mistake. No, it's Chiba Eri. For the reasons somewhat similar. She has been with the group since 2015, and this year she was chosen as a center, totally by surprise. I did not see this coming. For the 60th single, which gave her more attention, of course.
Mm-hmm.
She got a YouTube channel. She had a photo book. She did a collaboration with a fashion brand. It's like so many years in AKB. And she was like known.
Banger.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's
really good.
It felt
She
like
got lucky.
old AKB. It was good.
Yes.
I mean, she got lucky. If it's better good that they had that particularly, because it feels like they really wanted to push her with this, and they kind of need that lift up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because after Corona, they went downhill. That's not their fault, but you know what I mean. It's really impressive that someone who wasn't really that known, like she kind of was known, but not really, is chosen as the center. I don't quite know why. As in,
No, it
it's
really
not like,
highlighted her. You're right, man.
yeah, it's weird that I don't know why. I'm not being mean or anything, but it's like it's just very surprising. I saw the live stream and it was like, oh, okay, this is random. That took me by surprise. I thought it would be Zuki or maybe Oka Nana or double center, but no, they picked Chiba Eri. Good for her. Fun song. She did quite well, better than I expected. And because of that, or in relation to, she just got a stellar 2022 in type of year where not that many people have that kind of good kind of year, especially not with AKB. But yeah, awesome for her that she got this attention after 7 years. Just goes to show what can happen. It's awesome. It's really cool for her.
All right.
I think that deserves Idol of the Year 2022 nomination, at least, from my side of the thing.
Of course. Then yeah, in which
That's it.
case that wraps this video up. So again, although it's rather belated, I hope you all had a happy new year, and well, we'll see how this year goes, it can be
Hopefully good.
unpredictable at this point, how good or how bad
Yeah.
or how weird it can get.
You're never gonna know what will happen next week. Maybe
Exactly.
something
True.
totally nuts.
But we are
Who knows,
nonetheless looking forward to it, especially with our favorite idols. So,
Oh, yeah.
hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to leave a like and comment down below your own thoughts, your own picks for your old Idol Award
Yep, please share.
nominations. And we will see you guys.
1 second.
Oh, what's that?
Thank you, Colin, for joining us.
Oh,
I wanted
yes,
to say
of
that
course.
before
Thank
before
you,
the video.
Colin.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you for the invite.
And thank you, Jerm, too.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys in the future whenever we make our next video. So until then, bye-bye.
Bye,
Happy
everyone.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy January.
Year.
Bye-bye.